sports.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that we can give our daughters everything they need to grow and learn. But not every child can focus on classes and play dates.
Nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. face hunger. That's 1 in 6. School lunch might be their only meal each day, and it's heartbreaking to imagine any child going to bed hungry. We're dreaming of a perfect day when kids can smile, play, and just be kids without worrying about where their next meal will come from. Feeding America is working to make that perfect day a reality.
Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. That food is given to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about doing things that make an ordinary day extraordinary. Learning to play an instrument, building a sandcastle, hosting tea parties. Hunger should never be an obstacle to growing up.
You can help end childhood hunger in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
News Talk 1290 Coil is your home for Omaha Maverick hockey all season long. Don't miss a single puck drop, power play, barn burner, or any of the action this season. Your home for Maverick hockey, both home and away, is News Talk 1290 Coil.
Hey there, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Outdoor Nebraska update. It's hunting time in the Husker State. For a safe season, remember to be totally certain of your target and your background before you fire that shot. In a moment, ask yourself, is the bullet flight path clear? Is that a legitimate target? And what am I going to hit if I miss my shot? Please be careful out there. If you'd like more information on hunting safety, go to outdoornebraska.gov. That's outdoornebraska.gov. From wildfowl to owls. Great time of year to step outside and watch wildlife. Many animals are still active, plus the leaves have mostly fallen, vegetation is set back, and we'll have some warmer weather. Maybe you'll hike a state park trail or head to a public reservoir to do that. Oh, and don't forget your camera. Oh, it's on your phone, that's right. I'm Greg Wagner.
KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone.
Crossover is crossover dribble.
Sing for the crossover. Kyrie Irving, crossover in the lane.
One of the most famous crossovers of all time.
Behind the back, an ankle breaker on Chris Paul.
Crossover continues to evolve.
Crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. What's up, boys?
Look at him. Look at our son.
I love the shot.
Look at him. Nikola Jokic.
He's good. The Joker. So, yes, you're donning your Nuggets hoodie.
Had to.
The shot, though, where it's almost kind of Larry Bird-esque.
Yeah.
It's over the head.
You know what? And he's got the ball, and I'm like, all right, I'm fine with whatever result of this happens. And he goes and he makes a beeline basically toward the scorer's table. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, interesting. Let's see what happens here. Hucks it up.
Yep.
Bang.
Calls game.
I love that guy.
And my favorite thing
Chuck tries to get after him after he's like, hey, did you call glass? And he's like, hey, my friend, they win. Come on.
When his parade.
I am happy with his parade.
Josh Hodson's right.
When do I get to go home?
He looks like he plays in flip-flops.
I have horses.
He does. When do I go home?
He does look like that.
Guy's awesome.
I love the best thing about those moments, too.
He's missed 5 shots?
He's missed 5 shots in the last
4
games.
Jesus.
Insane.
He shot 44 shots.
Lord.
He missed 3 last night.
3 last
Shot
night.
88.6%. Oh my God.
crazy.
That's like a great free throw percentage.
He's good. Welcome back to the NBA.
Yeah.
It's back, folks.
It's back. Basketball is here.
Would you, because nobody's a Laker fan in here, right?
No.
I know you.
Hell no.
No. Would you be pumped to raise that in-season banner? Isn't that kind of weird?
I would not be.
So you're the Lakers, you got the in-season banner and you got the COVID title.
The Mickey Mouse ring.
Oh yeah, those are some weird banners, man.
I get it though. If you're LeBron, you want to own a team. The commissioner says you're going to hang that banner.
That's true.
You
The other organization might poo-poo
like,
that, I guess.
maybe you just put the banner up. You know, you don't have a big ceremony for it. You just kind of put it up there.
Yeah, all of a sudden you show up to the arena one day and it's up there.
You wait for a media member to tweet out, "Hey, that banner's up."
Check that out.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a pregame PA read. Fans, please direct your attention to the South Stadium.
The lights stay up.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
we put it up last night while you were sleeping.
It happens at 6:25 for a 7:00 tip. You know, we make sure we just get it in, get it out. We don't have to have a whole big ceremony.
Your Los Angeles Lakers are the inaugural in-season
Do they
tournament
get in-season
champions.
tournament rings?
Yeah, I think there was talk of
better
that,
not.
right?
Come on.
Wow. Like, you want to see something sweet? This is my in-season tournament ring.
Hey, why not?
Check it out.
You know, at that point, you're hanging a banner, you're doing the whole thing. Just might as well.
I thought that was so weird. Just very anticlimactic.
Will Wemby get a ring for almost beating the Bucks last night?
Should.
He should get a ring for that behind the back.
Yeah, the behind the back. And honestly, I thought he got rejected. I didn't realize, like, as he put it up, it went in because he's going to knock himself out on the rim.
He's too tall to be doing.
I know. It's like, and then all of a sudden the ball just disappeared. I'm like, wait, what just happened there?
Imagine
you
like,
a blocker to go in.
Imagine like showing up, like maybe you.
Oh, here, I think this is it, right? Wait, no.
You come from a different country, like you came and you showed up from Australia. Like you have a decent understanding of what basketball is, and you get in town, and your friend's like, "Let's go to the Bucks Spurs game tonight," and you're like, "Oh my God, who are these people?
Yeah,
what's
aliens?
What is going on? Where did you get these guys? Why are they 9 feet tall
and move like that?
And they move so well and fast. The only 7 foot tall guy I know can't even stand up.
Man, what are you guys cooking up in the lab?
Or this is another good one. Like you show up at a Miami Dolphins game. Oh my God,
he's so fast.
Why is he moving so fast?
This is wrong.
What's going on?
It's true. We got some freak athletes these days. We really do.
Yeah, the separation. Like I feel like if you watched NFL in the 60s, the separation between average guy and NFL player.
Yes.
To
plumbers,
now,
right? They were plumbers.
The separation from NFL athletes to average guy today.
Great point.
Yep.
I mean, it's not even. You couldn't even fathom.
And the highlight music was a lot different.
You could not even fathom the difference between normal man and NFL player.
Oh, normal man would have a heater at halftime. It'll be
NFL player would have a heater at halftime in the 60s.
That's what I mean. NFL guys taking down a dart, and all of a sudden, like now, it's like, oh my gosh, is anybody even smoking in the stadium?
Every time
we got to keep it
every time I watch a basketball game, this thought comes up in my head. Like sometimes I go out and I'll shoot baskets or something. I'll grab a basketball and I'll start shooting. And after about 5 or 10 minutes, I'm kind of warmed up, and I'm like, I kind of start getting the stroke going. At best, I'll make like 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10 3-pointers or something like that.
Jeez, that's pretty good.
I know. At best,
that's pretty good.
At best, and I'm warmed up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Steph makes 30 in a row.
They can make 98 out of 100 with their eyes closed
to get warmed up.
Have you ever watched an NBA player warm up for an NBA game?
I went to a Wolves game a few years back, and
they don't miss.
They don't miss,
and it's so like nonchalant too.
Guys who are quote unquote bad shooters,
yes,
don't miss.
Even shooters,
even when they're screwing around and trying to like, okay, I'm going to put a little more high arc on this shot, see if I can, and it's just drained every time.
Splash.
Like, come on, really?
Now, I mean, there's a reason why. First of all, they're just better. Good. Second of all, they do it professionally, so they do it every single day. But it's amazing to think about. I always try to keep myself grounded when I feel like I'm getting hot in pregame warm-ups. Like, you know what? You suck, man. You'll never be as good as Steph Curry.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I feel that way every time I step on the golf course.
Exactly. Same thing. Like, how do these guys do this?
Yeah, see, the golf part of it, just even watching like the Corn Ferry tournament, here at the Pinnacle Bank Championship, like watching even some of those guys, like you bottle up like the best day of driving a golf ball, and you're like, damn, like I'm feeling it.
I could put
and
together,
then you watch some of those guys and you see how effortless it is.
Well, yeah.
And how the ball just travels different. Like, how the hell?
I could put together the 18 best holes I've ever played in my life.
I was going to say that.
And lose by 10 strokes.
Right.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like if you gave me like 70 of the best shots I've ever hit, I would get killed.
Yep.
It'd be close to 70 of the worst shots that those guys hit.
But now, you go to, well, if you went into the 70s and you did, it was golf, it's like, yeah, you could find a guy off the street who could probably beat whoever is playing.
How did people do that? Like in the 50s and 60s.
How did you become a professional golfer?
Yeah. Like, no,
That's a good question.
What they used as golf clubs.
Oh, yeah, like little sticks.
Yeah, the sticks in the woods, and like I've seen some of those putters. Like, how did you do that? How were you able to like shoot like 15 under?
And same thing with like baseball in the 20s. Like the balls. Why is the ball like made of a?
It's made out of goat skin and a sheep's bladder.
Sheep's bladder.
Probably.
It really is. And it's just stitched together with leather over the top.
And you better believe they doctored the ball. Ain't nobody watching that stuff.
Yeah, they had. I mean,
they doctored the crap out of the ball.
Hack and chaw spit on the ball.
That's just part of it.
They only had one ball. They lost the ball and it ended.
Game over.
It was like Sandlot. Like, oh crap, what do we do? God, Babe Ruth hit another one.
It's amazing to think about. So sometimes I think I was born in the wrong decade, Yeah. Like if I was me in the 30s, I would have been like a 3-sport major athlete.
Well, I watch some of when they didn't have the 3-point line in basketball. And I see a lot of the fundamental post moves, a lot of the George Mikan drills and the actual sky hook. We're not talking baby hook, finesse type stuff. And watching how fundamentals were really emphasized. Like I could have survived that time in basketball.
Here's
where you didn't have to be as athletic, you just had to be technically sound.
In the 20s and 30s, if you didn't get polio or rickets, you had a good chance of being a pro athlete. Right?
It's process of elimination, man.
It's true. You just had to be technically sound in whatever you were doing.
Did you get lucky with your health?
Yeah.
Pro athlete.
Are you alive?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pro athlete.
I mean, look at some of the leg kicks that some of those pitchers had back then too. I mean, generating power so much different than the way that our power arms throw now. It's
those guys
crazy.
Also they chose to go and play pro baseball for less money than they could have made in the steel mill.
That's true.
Right? Like they were almost a laughing stock. Like, you made a bad career choice, my man.
Yeah, what a
you would have been a great steel mill worker.
You could have been an apprentice.
Right.
You decided to go play professional.
Oh, you
baseball.
chased your passion.
Somebody has to do it.
Here comes Crazy Legs McGee. Could have been a millionaire working at Jefferson Steel, but no. Decided to follow his passion. Major League Baseball.
Sean says, is there anything Connor can't do? Kick 45-yard field goals, shoot 60% from 3.
That is 60%.
Hey, I will tell you this. I can make a 45-yard field goal.
But you got
provably so. I can today kick a 45.
Don't you have a soccer background though?
I do. I played a lot of soccer.
It's not that crazy. We got, me and John, we got big legs.
Do you have a soccer background? I believe John could because he got a soccer
background.
So you can make a 45-yarder.
I kick it,
Could you make a 45-yarder? I believe you can make a PAT.
I kick it.
No,
I kick it.
The reason
sure as I would try.
Just to be very clear, the reason that this whole thing once again got blown out of proportion and we lost track of what we were actually talking about again was
fine.
I said I used to go to the Cook Pavilion in college.
Yeah.
And I would put the football on top of a shoe, which is the equivalent of a tee.
Yeah.
And I would start bombing them. I think I made one from 50 once.
Really?
But that's not crazy off of a tee. Have you seen guys kick off of a tee?
Yeah.
It goes 75
with
yards.
a full run up. Yeah.
Right. With a full run. Like nobody ever, there's no restrictions on how far I can run up to the ball. So then it became like, all right, we'll go out and do it in the middle of January when there's 20-mile-an-hour wind and do it off the ground.
Rush.
Yeah.
Did we put a pass rush in there? I don't remember that.
No, we didn't do any of that.
Were we going all out block on that?
I just kick a football 45 yards. I still think I could.
See, I used to be able to
in
dunk.
The right controlled environment.
I can't. I don't think I can dunk anymore.
No,
but I could dunk.
I never could.
I could touch the rim. I think I dunked a tennis ball once.
Yeah, that's where it started.
I wrestled.
Do the tennis ball and then take the girls' ball and then eventually mail ball.
So you dunked?
Yeah, I could
Were
dunk.
you dunking in pregame warmups at Millard West?
So we couldn't do it because if you touched the rim, you got teed up.
Yeah, but were you?
Oh yeah, we would do that. Oh
Putting it
yeah.
up
Oh
there?
yeah. Oh hell yeah. Connor, let me tell you something. For a guy who didn't play a lot, especially senior year, I was a role player. I was the guy like, hey, you got 5 fouls. Do you have? Go ahead. All
So
right.
you were the Duncan pregame guy.
Yes. So I was the guy that it was cool because what other sport that you can kind of show off in front of your friends that are not basketball
Absolutely.
players? In basketball, like the gym's already filled up.
Pregame warmups is the best.
Because they were there for the women's game.
Yeah.
And so they're sticking around, they're watching you, and everyone's, starting to get their seats and stuff. And then you watch warm-ups, you're kind of close, so you can even give them a little high five and stuff like that.
Yeah, this is my time.
Yeah, you're trying to look cool. You got your warm-ups on. So if you could do the rims right here and you put the hands like right above it and then drop it in.
Those are the best.
You know how much cred you had, like your street cred. Was like,
my guy can get up.
Yeah. And then they're like, why doesn't he play more? Well, that's a
different story.
It's about all I could do. But yeah. So that was like my senior year. That was my only goal was during warmups, make it look like I could dunk. So then they'd be
Hanley
like,
hops.
Hanley's on our scouting report, but that guy looks like he's got a vert.
Hey, Nick, a bunch of us are going to Orange Joyous. You want to go?
That was it. They're like, oh my gosh.
That's all you were trying for?
Yeah. They're like, God, all of a sudden he's good
trying to
looking.
score a sweet prom
That's
date.
right.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Brian says on the Equitable Bank inbox that he watched Baylor Shireman warm up before the Alabama game and he made 19 threes in a row.
Jesus.
It's silly.
And
It's just silly.
It probably wasn't even like really crazy that he did that. He's probably, yeah, okay. That's just nuts. I don't even think I could make 9 free throws in a row.
Oh,
I was good at free throws. I'm not good at anything, but I was good at free throws.
You can make 9.
I was a career 50%er, no matter what.
You had no stroke.
Did you guys have the free throw shooting contest? in
Yeah,
elementary
shoot
school?
it up or
Yeah.
Well, they probably didn't call it that.
Where it's like shoot it up. No, I don't think they called
Hoop
it that.
it up.
Yeah, there was hoop it up.
Yeah, I
Where it
apologize.
was like you got like 20 free throws and the
Wasn't
winner
hoop it up
of
the
your
three-
class
wasn't
got
that
to
the
go
3 on
to
3?
the next one.
Yeah.
Hoop it up was 3 on 3.
Yeah, hoop it up was 3 on 3. What was that called?
Oh, yeah, no. The one where the free throws. I know what you're
The
talking
free
about.
throw thing.
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know what this is. I mean, we played knockout.
No, there was like a national contest for elementary school kids.
Oh, really?
Where like
It was
you
like
had-
the spelling bee. You
You-
know, you
but
just
for
put
during-
dance through your school.
but for-
Yeah,
but
they do
that's
it during
free throw
PE
shooters.
class. You'd have everybody would get into your groups of 5.
Yep.
You get your
Yeah.
20 free throws and count how many you made.
Yeah.
And the winner would move on to the school competition.
Yeah, we did a
Yeah.
thing. We would do a thing, I think, once a year. I can't remember.
I would have got out of my pool.
I think it was like during or like
I never
around
did.
the same time as parent teacher conferences. Everyone would show up and like you'd be able to donate a certain amount of money and you get to shoot 10 free throws and you win a competition. I don't even know what the deal was, but something like that. Oh yeah. Oh, I participated in all those. I didn't win any of them.
Did they have like a equivalent to like taking charges? I could take a charge. I might have qualified for regionals in that.
Intentional
That's pretty
fouls to
funny.
stop the clock?
I had to do a lot of little things, guys. I had to do when you're not blessed with just natural basketball abilities, you got to do the little things to stand out. Whether that's showing that you could potentially dunk with nobody in front of you during warmups, take some charges.
Were you a glue guy?
Nick Hanley holds
kind of a glue guy. Yeah,
Nick Hanley holds a state record for most clock-stopping fouls in the fourth quarter.
yeah, yes,
You
absolutely.
Jerk. You jerk.
Oh,
You're
you know what-
ruining basketball.
You did not want to tangle with me, man. If you were 6'8", I had to D up on you. You were getting a kneecap in the back of your knee. You didn't like that,
Dude, like I want to say this for this year. Now, the officials have loosened on this a little bit, but before the year, it was a very clear directive to the refs. We're not calling charges anymore.
Yes,
We're not doing it.
Uh-huh.
Since we've now reached the new year,
Yeah.
we've gotten back to a few more charges now. I think the officials, they get a little bit. They're like, you know what? I got to call this charge. I've been waiting.
Trying to remember
call this charge.
It was the Creighton or Nebraska game this week. That there was one that was probably shouldn't have been a charge, but you could tell there was the itch. The official had the
That's an
itch.
official. That's your time to shine. Is calling the charge.
I know exactly.
I think it
And
was
so
the
they can't
Nebraska. I
hold
think
it.
it was the Nebraska game.
I think it was the
Fair.
Nebraska game
Yeah.
too. I remember. I could see it. I could picture it.
That's your moment.
Because
as a ref.
exactly the official. You're going to have to scratch that itch at some point because that's where that's okay. So
you got to say boom.
That's literally what it is though. They're just scratching the itch of charges.
So that's how our coach preached it to us. That's why I would take charges a lot. He goes, they want to call it because that's their time to show off. They want to be, and some do it like more nonchalant, like, no, here. But some are like, no. woo! Like, yeah, they get into it.
It's
Because
their
you-
third strike call.
It is.
Right.
It's the third strike
You,
call.
you blow the whistle first, and then there's a pause.
So then everyone's looking at you like, okay,
And
there was contact.
and then
Something
here they
happened.
come. They step out from under the base.
Yep.
Go
Yep.
the other way. You know.
Yep. I love it.
It's absolutely their time
Yep.
to shine.
It is.
We've seen, so just watch out for that in the second half of the season now.
See more Chargers?
The Chargers are
Watching
going to start
that.
popping up again.
They weren't canceled.
All right.
They
Hey,
were.
I got
They were on
story.
hiatus.
I got a story that I've been saving for the crossover because it's definitely crossover material.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Love this.
Bring it on.
All right. So the family and I, we went to Los Angeles, Universal Studios for Christmas. We spent Christmas Day at Universal Studios.
Oh, that sounds
Right?
like a lot of work.
We stayed in a hotel in Glendale, California, which is right near Studio City.
Mhm.
So we check in. The hotel is called the Glendale Express. It's an old building that's been remodeled into a hotel. Looked really cool. It's close to Universal. We're like, yeah, great. Let's stay at this one. Looks kind of cool. We go in, we check in. The lady says, okay, here are your keys. Elevators are down the hall to the right. We'll be serving breakfast tomorrow morning from 7 to 10. And our breakfast will consist of coffee and Pop-Tarts.
That's not breakfast.
And I said,
That's what you say. Yeah, we have
I
a
said-
continental
I said,
breakfast.
"Could you-
I'm gonna need more.
coffee and what?
That's not breakfast.
Coffee and Pop-Tarts will be our breakfast. And she's saying all this, not ironically,
Yeah, not like I know.
head down to coffee and Pop-Tarts. No, big smile on her
You're like, yeah,
face.
coffee Pop-Tarts.
We're giving you coffee and Pop-Tarts for breakfast. Aren't
Yeah.
you excited?
Yeah, shouldn't you be saying thank you right now? Thank
So-
you.
The next morning, I've got to see this for myself, right? Like this can't be. It's like pastries or something, right? Nope. Walk down to the lobby.
Maybe in California they call bagels and
there's
stuff
a
Pop-Tarts.
there's a little rolly tray cart with the big coffee the silver
Yeah.
coffee dispenser
Brown-
with cups
Yeah.
and a big box of Pop-Tarts.
What
Brown
kind-
sugar cinnamon.
Brown sugar cinnamon and frosted strawberry.
Okay, you had
The only
strawberry.
two
though.
flavors.
Well, you had strawberry. That's good.
That-
Yeah, I'm not a brown sugar.
It
cinnamon
was
fan.
such, and there's like people huddled around getting their coffee, grabbing the gas station 2-pack of Pop-Tarts. I'm just like,
You can't call that serving. Like
What
you,
is
that's
this?
not you
Were they
haven't
capitalizing
served
off the
anything.
Pop-Tart Bowl?
I
Maybe it was the new craze of the Pop-Tart Bowl.
this
Like, hey,
is-
they're Pop-Tarts.
the
are back.
impression that I was under is like this is their standard thing that they do
Huh.
as their breakfast.
Yeah,
known
aren't
as
you
the
happy about it?
It's known as the
And
Pop-Tart
I was
Hotel.
I was so confused. Like, how are you not embarrassed to tell people that this is your breakfast service?
Well, maybe their
Yeah, you
whole
can't-
goal. You said you're by Universal Studios. You know, you try to cater to the kids. Kids love Pop-Tarts.
But you can't call that like breakfast service. That's just
No.
like stuff that you leave out.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
it's
It's like here it is.
it's
If you
sort
want
of
some,
it's
you go ahead and
even it's
grab
even
some.
like a it's a.
Did they
it's
have
a-
elixir water too?
Like cucumber water.
Yeah, yeah.
They did. Yeah, there was
Yeah.
like there
It's
was
at the
one
front
that-
desk, right?
Why was
Yeah.
that not mentioned?
Yeah, well, that's right. When you walk in
Today
the
we've got
door.
oranges in there. Enjoy that.
All right, I got one.
We're gonna go with mango.
So actually, I forgot that this happened, and I was going to tell it on a crossover a couple days ago. Went to Target a few nights ago.
I like where this is
I
going.
had to get one thing, and I was looking for. I didn't even know if they existed, but I was looking for like a very quick quesadilla of because I had
At
soup.
Target?
Yeah, I had soup, and Target's the closest
like
thing
a
to my
frozen
house.
one that you
It's
can
like a
warm
frozen
up.
quesadilla.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I
Okay.
walk into the frozen section, and there's a guy who's restocking the shelves, and I'm kind of looking around a little bit because I have no idea really what I'm looking for except
Yeah.
for that. And the guy's like, "Can I help you find anything?" I'm like, "Actually, yes." And I don't usually say yes.
Wow. Yeah.
You know?
Usually it's like, nah, I'm just looking.
Actually, yes. Do you guys have any frozen quesadillas? And he's like, Let me think about that. And he's like,
That's not a product you normally see as
And-
a frozen.
yeah, right.
Because you know you're at Target,
But
right?
he seems mildly confused, and I'm like, you know what? It's no big deal. I could just, I'll figure something out. He's like, no. And he turns where we take one step, and we look over at the other side, and he points me in the direction. He goes, How about that right there? I go, well, that's a tortilla. That he points at tortillas, and he goes,
You could make one.
he goes, quesadilla. What? I'm like, no, that's a tortilla. Like
He didn't know what a quesadilla is.
inside of the tortillas is like it's a quesadilla. You
I
know,
want the
it's made
stuff in it.
It's
too,
made out
sir.
of tortillas. He's like, oh, quesadillas. I don't know if we have any of those. I don't think he knew
He
what a
didn't- he didn't know what a
quesadilla
quesadilla
was.
was.
I think he thought a
He was
quesadilla
hoping-
was a tortilla.
Yep, he was hoping that, and then once you said that, you wrecked them.
And guess what?
He
I
had
took
no idea.
3 steps and I found the frozen quesadilla.
Okay.
They were right there.
This guy, his whole life, has been going to Mexican restaurants and seeing quesadillas in the menu going,
Yeah.
why is anyone ordering that?
Yes.
like-
It's just
He was
why,
like,
why- why do you get that?
He's like,
Taking
yeah, I
up
got you.
space on the
Right here.
menu.
I look up tortillas.
It's like is that how they say tortilla in Spanish? Quesadilla.
Tortillas.
I believe this is what you're looking for, right, sir?
So that's a good lesson for everybody. Don't.
Oh, no, sir. Those are called tortillas in America.
First of all, tortillas, quesadillas, different things. Second of all, don't get the help at the grocery store. You'll figure.
I never get the help.
Yeah.
How was the quesadilla from Target?
It was horrible.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Because I thought that was going to be his reaction. When you're like, I'm looking for quesadillas, I was hoping they'd be like, sir, you're at Target.
I had chicken
Tortilla soup.
tortilla soup,
Yeah.
and
Again,
the tortillas.
Scratching that itch?
Yeah, I had chicken tortilla soup, and I was like, I need something that goes with this. Maybe I'll dip it in there or something like that. It wasn't any good.
So if you guys are looking for a very easy thing to make, the copycat Taco Bell Mexican pizza. I made that over the break.
You just put it on like a tortilla, right?
Yeah. So you got to get like the flour tortilla, which you can find at your grocery store. It's not just a normal tortilla, but the actual floured tortilla.
Oh yeah,
because that's the difference.
Oh, okay.
So easy to make, and it was like as good.
Nice.
Never thought I could pull it off.
Life
Super
hacks
easy.
from Nick.
It was. I mean, if we're talking tortillas or quesadillas, Mexican pizza, very easy to make.
Okay.
I was very proud of that one.
Well, we have to go because we actually scheduled an interview for 10:30.
What,
dude?
I know. This is the first time
Can
ever.
you tease it? Who's coming up?
Jordan Hooper.
Okay.
She's getting her retired.
Very
her,
cool.
her number retired on Sunday at
Nice.
Pinnacle Bank Arena.
You get to announce
Cool.
that.
And I get to announce it. And we also get to talk to her in 5 minutes.
Okay, you do that.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Later.
John, Nick, that's the crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Let me set things up here quickly. So Jordan Hooper will join in just a second. We will talk to Munson at 11. No BC today. Sipple at 12:30. And Johnny Fanta at 1 o'clock. That's the lineup powered by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. We'll come back and we'll talk with Nebraska women's basketball legend Jordan Hooper on the other side on 1620 The Zone.
That's the crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
It doesn't seem like any of us are supper people in here.
I was a supper person.
I was
for a
too,
long
and I
time.
moved away from
it.
I hate supper. People who call dinner supper call lunch dinner, and these people trigger me.
Dinner is only lunch on weekend, on like a Sunday. My grandmother would call supper a snack between lunch and dinner, and then sometimes dinner would be dinner, but dinner wouldn't be dinner. I didn't understand these etiquettes.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Cloudy and cool to end the week for your Friday with a high today in Omaha, 36, but feeling like the upper 20s and lower 30s with wind chill through much of the day. A 20% chance of flurries mainly this afternoon and evening. Little to no snow accumulations expected. Staying mostly cloudy tonight, winds becoming light with a low in Omaha of 26. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
42 Degrees wants to start your year off right with hot deals on our top health and wellness products. Our best-selling Kratom extracts up to 20% off. Delta products starting at $4.99. You want to save up to 25% on the best premium flour in town? Then hurry down to any one of our 10 convenient locations and let the knowledgeable and friendly staff show you why 42 Degrees is the source for all your needs. By your mom's house.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Put your coffee department in good hands with Host Coffee Service, providing direct delivery and loaned coffee equipment with service programs. If you're ready to change to a better coffee provider, it's time for Host Coffee.
Omaha's best coffee since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Email any of our shows anytime into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. For me, John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank inbox from 1620 The Zone.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long. Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks. Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
Start learning a new language today. Go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
It's the Connor Happer Show with Connor Happer and Josh Otson. Let's get ready to rumble.
Licensing of the phrase "let's get ready to rumble" just over the last 7+ years internationally is grossed approximately close to $400 million in retail sales.
Really?
You guys look like, what do they look like, Jimmy?
Dorks. They look like a couple of dorks.
On 1620, The Zone.
All right, welcome in. Happy Friday. Yeah, it's Friday. The Connor Happer Show. You're on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Otson with you. Like I said, we got a busy lineup for guests. We're going to fire one up with probably our most esteemed guest of the day. It's certainly the guest of honor at the weekend at Pinnacle Bank Arena. So Sunday, as you guys know, I work with the women's basketball team as their public address announcer, so I'm a champion of all things that they do. They won last night to start 3-0 in the conference, and so it's all leading up to Sunday. They're doing another packed PBA game. We're trying to get 15,000 people in the building to watch Nebraska women's basketball play against Indiana. Let's sweeten the pot, Nebraska said, and let's bring back one of our own and one of our legends, Jordan Hooper. She'll have her jersey retired on Sunday, and she joins us now on the 42 Degrees The Source hotline. Jordan, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing really well. How are you?
Good. Okay, so take us to when you got the call, and did you expect anything like that, or did it just kind of come out of the blue? Hey, we're going to retire your number, and we want to do this.
Yeah, so Gresh had told me that they were going to do some recruiting phone calls, and I was like, okay, fine. And then he also said, can you be here for alumni weekend? And I said, yes, I'll put it in my calendar. And so I was kind of expecting something along those lines, like, hey, we're going to honor the team, which they did.
Yeah.
Like that was part of the phone call, and she's like, and also we would like to retire your jersey. And I was not expecting that, not at all. Like, I was always hopeful just because it's a really cool thing and it's a really cool goal to have when you're playing in college, and it's just always been a goal. But no, I was not expecting it that day to be announced and to be happening this weekend. So it's really surreal, but it's really awesome.
Well, and you mentioned the first part too, like I don't know how many, and you could tell us, like, how many of your teammates are going to be there this weekend, and people who you are familiar with, who are either still around, still with the program, or are coming back for the weekend to be a part of alumni weekend. And then also, oh yes, there's also, we're going to retire your jersey too.
Yeah, I know there's quite a few. I know for sure, probably at least 6 or 7 specifically that I know from that team, either still live in Lincoln, or they're flying back, or they're just, coming for the weekend for what, So I know there's at least 6 or 7 that I know personally will be there. And then obviously some that I haven't even heard that are going to be there. I don't know. It's going to be really, really fun. It's going to be overwhelming, but in the best way. And I'm just really excited to see everybody again.
I'll tell you what, too. Like, so you mentioned the word overwhelming, and the thing that I mentioned right off the top is like, so they're doing it's the PAC PBA game, and you know, Husker fans have shown up time and time again when asked, when called upon, hey, let's sell out a football stadium with 85,000 people to watch a volleyball game. Hey, let's sell out a women's basketball game. Nobody else in the country does that. Hey, let's do it again. And so you get to be, you know, you're honored on the day where this happens. It's I can tell you from experience from last year. I don't know if you were at the Iowa game last year.
No, I wasn't.
It was about like 30 times more like emotional, I guess, than I sort of expected it to be. I expected it to be heightened, but man, it was crazy. So to think about all that coming together on Sunday, yeah, I think maybe you'll be feeling it a little bit on Sunday.
Yeah, and just to say a little backstory or a little story of my own about that. So I was watching the Husker volleyball match in Memorial Stadium. I was here. I was babysitting some dogs and stuff, and so I couldn't make it down there. But I was watching it on TV and just crying. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, I didn't play volleyball at Nebraska, you know, like that shouldn't mean as much as it did, but it just did. Like, it was just very emotional, and it was awesome. And it was, I don't know, it was really awe-inspiring, honestly, seeing a woman athlete and seeing them do what they did and seeing Nebraska always show up for their athletes is just amazing. So yeah, I can't imagine. I can try to imagine, but it's not going to be the same as when I'm actually in that atmosphere on Sunday.
Yeah, we can't wait. Can't wait. Jordan Hooper is with us, and she'll be at Pinnacle Bank Arena on Sunday getting her jersey retired. Let's go all the way back. So you played in Nebraska from 10 to 14. I guess that makes us the same age. I graduated or I was in college from those years as well. So we were at the same time there. So like, let's go back to your sort of like recruitment, I guess, if you call it that. 3-sport athlete. I know that, you know, from Alliance, you probably are like, yeah, it might be Nebraska, but like, take us through that and your sort of expectations for yourself when you get to college and you choose that basketball is the direction that you want to go.
Yeah, I mean, my expectations for myself were very high at a very young age, and they constantly just grew, I guess. I don't know if that makes any sense, but they just, every year I was like, okay, I've accomplished what I want to accomplish, and now there's another step that I want to do. And so people always ask me in high school, they're like, oh, well, where are you going to go to school? And I'm like, well, at the beginning I didn't know. I was like, I don't know yet. Like, I'll figure that out, and you know, it'll come to me when it comes to me. And then they were like, well, what sport are you going to do? And I'm like, well, at that point, again, I don't know, you know, all this stuff. And so when I finally narrowed it down to just a few schools and finally narrowed it down to basketball, then I could start answering questions a little bit at a time, you know. So it always takes me a little time to figure out what I want to do, where I want to go, who I want to be. But once I do, I try to focus on every single goal that I have. I try to meet those goals. And if I don't, then I don't beat myself up. I just try again next year. You know, I try again next game. I try again next day, whatever it is, you know. So, yeah, my expectations for myself were always very high. And I don't know, I think just being from Nebraska, going to Nebraska, there's always a certain level of pressure that the state might not necessarily put it on you, but you still feel it. And they don't probably mean to. Like, fans don't mean to do that. They just want to watch good basketball. They care about you. And I never really felt that pressure from outsiders. It was always within me, within my own self, I guess. I'm like, well, again, I'm from Nebraska. I want to like represent the state. I want to represent my town. I want to represent my teammates. I want to represent whoever has been in my life well. I don't want to, you know, slack off because of them. So I think it was always that pressure for me, from me. And I don't know. I never really felt it from other people, I guess. So yeah, my expectations for myself were always very, very high.
Well, you mentioned the fans, and we obviously just talked about the support that they get. I think it was the year before your freshman year was the year that they, you know, just about went undefeated and went to the Sweet 16, and then you come in as a freshman, and if I'm not mistaken, I think you guys went below 500 that year, or you know, it was just okay, so well. Right? Yeah. It was just okay, and then after that, it sort of picked back up. So I imagine that you kind of felt that pressure sort of right away in your career because of the expectations as a program.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You go into a program that the year before they go undefeated up until they lost one game, and then you're like, okay, yeah. And so, of course, being a kid, you're like, oh, I could do that. You know, the naiveness of a child and your brain, all that stuff. So yeah, I came in and I was like, we'll just pick right up where they left off. And it's not that simple. It's never that simple. You're losing 5 experienced seniors, and you have to replace them with 5 unexperienced freshmen. And that's tough to do. And that's not what I think Coach Rory was trying to do. She knew what would happen. Like, she always was a realist. And so she knew it was going to happen. But for me, like, I hadn't lost like that in a really long time. And so I was like, well, this isn't what I expected. This isn't what I expected from myself mostly, you know? And so it was like, well, this isn't going so well.
Right.
But we figured it out. And I think because we did have to jump into it and just be thrown into it, it gave us so much experience and more confidence. And so next year, you know exactly what you're supposed to do leadership wise, you know exactly what you're supposed to do on the court, off the court. So yeah, it really turned around, and it was a lot better after that.
Talk about your relationship. You mentioned Connie Yori there, and I think she might be. I think she's part of the celebration this weekend. Your relationship with her and sort of that coaching staff during your either recruitment and your time there.
Oh yeah, all of the coaches were a special part of my recruiting time, and then team, and then the games, and then all of the stuff. But yeah, since I've graduated, Coach Rory and I have actually gotten a lot closer, which is really, really cool. I'll go down and visit her and just talk to her, you know, and we'll talk about all kinds of stuff. But it's just nice to have somebody in your corner that knows so much about you from, you know, when I was, again, that naive kid until now, where I'm probably still very naive, but you know, a little less. So it's just really nice to have people like her. And I mean, my other coaches as well, they're very supportive. They've always been there. I could turn to them and ask them any question. They would always be there. So, you know, it's really special to have that relationship. And just, I can't wait to see her this weekend and have her be part of everything.
Well, you've been playing professionally for the better part of the last 10 years. What's been your sort of proximity to the program over this period of time? And you know, obviously, I'm sure you have a relationship with Coach Williams and their staff right now, and look forward to Sunday. And as far as that is concerned, but like, how closely do you pay attention to, you know, have you paid attention to over the last 10 years of Nebraska women's basketball?
Yeah, I've paid attention. I've been watching and not as much as I would have hoped, and not as easily, because you're overseas and, you know, time difference and all this other stuff.
Right.
So I haven't been a part of the program like I would hope that I could have been, but I have been watching. So like Twitter and Instagram and the stuff that gets posted, I get to see. And then, if there's a game on TV and we can stream it overseas and stuff, that's what we usually do. But it has been a little difficult to stay in contact with everybody, just because it is hard. It's just really hard to do that, and just to, you know, have the wherewithal to do all of that and play your own game and, you know, focus. So I don't know, it's just kind of been really tough. It's been 9 years, but I haven't really been around in the winter, and that's when basketball takes place. And it's like, well, I can't go to any games, I can't watch anything. So it did kind of suck, because I didn't get to watch my own cousins, you know, like growing up, and I was already gone and doing my own thing. And so I haven't even gotten to see them play basketball, which really kind of stinks a lot. But it is what it is. And I loved my life for those 9 years. But it has been a little hard to stay in touch with all of the coaching staff at Nebraska right now. But I did meet Coach Williams a few times, and great human, great coach. I really like what she's doing with the program. I think she's doing great, and I'm just really excited for him.
Well, the thing that is so great, just from my viewpoint and from my standpoint of working with that team, I've done it for, I think, 7 years now or something like that. Like, is it just like people come back all the time, and it's like, you know, it's like they never left, and there's something that tethers them. There's something that ties them to the program. It's a real family type of atmosphere. And so, excuse me, when you show up on Sunday, and you'll get around all your former teammates, and then you'll get around some of the team that is on the floor today, and be like, oh yeah, this is all just one big family. And that I think is something that program does really well.
I would agree. Even so, when I was in school and they would bring back, you know, former players, they would come and talk. They would just come and watch, or they would just be on campus. It's like, oh, okay. And yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly like you're saying. It's just one big family and we respect each other and it's awesome. And you get advice from them and then, you move on and stuff. But yeah, it is. You come back whenever and you feel welcome. And I have. Every time I've been back in town when I can be in town, I never feel like an outsider. I always feel welcome. And I think that, like you're saying, I think that's something that Nebraska does super well. And it's really amazing.
Okay, so what's next? You just mentioned what's been happening for the last decade since you've left Nebraska. It's I guess is it a basketball hiatus right now? And what's next for Jordan Hooper, the basketball player?
Yeah, it's a basketball hiatus. We are taking a nice long winter break from any playing and stuff, and I just kind of want to take a step back. I need a break, mentally, physically, all of that, and so. I've just been home. I've been washing windows when the weather was nice. And like I said earlier, babysitting dogs and stuff for people when they go on vacation. But I don't know what the next step is, like concrete wise. I don't know what my career will look like or anything like that. So yeah, like I said, I'm just taking a break. And if I feel like I want to go play after this, then I think I could probably do that. But for right now, it's just a full on break and just not even thinking about playing or being overseas or any of that stuff.
Yeah. I always wonder when players are starting to get to that point where they're thinking about what's next. Do you ever think about a future in coaching?
I get that question so often, especially here in Alliance. And I always say, for now, it's a no. I'm not going to rule it out forever, but just for now, it's a no. It doesn't feel right for me to personally take on that role just yet, but it might in the future, like if I do camps and I just kind of get my name out there and start doing little stuff, then maybe eventually it'll turn into something. But for now, I've just kind of, like I said, taking a break from it and just not even thinking about it.
Jordan, we got a comment, and I'm sure you've heard this plenty. I want to bounce it off of you real quick. A comment on one of our streams here is Jordan Hooper the best basketball name of all time? So once you got through that at Nebraska, where it's like, wow, we have a basketball player named Hooper, and then you had so many different experiences in so many different places post Nebraska. Did that ever maybe wear on you a little bit? Yeah, okay, it's funny. My name is Hooper.
I mean, so every year, obviously, you have to introduce yourself to the new team, and they're like, okay, "What's your name?" You say your name, and they some of the ones that don't get it, like the different language, like the language barrier and stuff, like, okay, whatever. But the ones like your American teammates, they're like, oh, so yeah, they did it every single team. And it never wore on me. I still think it's awesome. Like, the people think it's awesome. I think it's awesome. My parents were very, they looked into the future and they're like, okay, this has to be what it is. But no, it never wore on me. I think it's cool. And I will never get tired of telling people what my name is. I think it and what I did for a living for a while. I think it's really awesome.
Exactly. It makes a lot of sense. That's for sure. It's a perfect match. Yeah. Jordan, thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it. Can't wait till Sunday. It'll be really fun. Take it all in, and we'll talk to you in a couple days.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait till Sunday either.
Awesome. Jordan Hooper, former Nebraska women's basketball player. She will have her number 35 lifted into the rafters at PBA on Sunday in front of 1 billion people.
1 billion people? That'll set a record.
That would set a record, Josh.
Take that, Caitlin Clark.
Take that, Trev Alberts. Well, I guess it'd be his responsibility in that card, too.
Yeah, he would claim that.
Volleyball team.
Mm-hmm.
So I go back to that. The volleyball day in America, as Matt Rule called it. And then last year, when the women played Iowa, and I did like, you don't know what to expect going into it, but I didn't think that I didn't think that I would be like caught off guard by the emotion. And Jordan mentioned the same thing that I think everybody else thought when they went to volleyball day in Nebraska, or they watched volleyball day in Nebraska. They were like, yeah, I knew that this would be cool, but why was I crying?
Oh, I knew I was going to cry.
Why did I just involuntarily start crying? And so it was, the same thing. And I guess a little bit more of a controlled way last year against Iowa. And then, so you throw this in this weekend where it's not the brand. It's not, you're not bringing in Iowa, the brand, but you are bringing an undefeated, I believe, top 25 team, top 15 team in the country. who beat the living hell out of Michigan last night, by the way. And they're pretty good. And they're a Big Ten, kind of favorite, co-favorite, right up there with the best. And you ask Husker Nation and they'll show. And then also here's the sweetener, Jordan Hooper's coming back. And like she said, I mean, it's hard. She's been playing professional basketball for the better part of the last 10 years. It's hard to be around the program. It's hard to be familiar with the program. They've had a coaching staff change, obviously. It's good to see. And I think Connie Yori will be a part of, she's at Creighton now, will be a part of the celebration in some way, shape, or form on Sunday, at least just there, I think, for Jordan. So that's cool. But there, you have this kind of wrapping your arms around the whole thing, which is nice. And it was similar when Doug McDermott got his jersey retired a couple weeks ago in Omaha. Like, oh yeah, let's all remember. Let's all remember. Let's all wrap our arms around this thing.
We love hanging jerseys, don't we?
We do. How about this? Like, I feel old now. There is two people who are my age who I graduated in the same high school class with that have their jerseys retired around here. Jordan Hooper and Doug McDermott. Like, I got this crap radio show. I should make a shirt. I got these two people who just got the lot small text. Got these people who are my age who got their jersey retired, but all I got was this damn radio show. And the shirt.
Put that up at 1620 the store.
All right. Exactly. Thank you, Josh. Good one. All right, we'll come back. We'll reset things a little bit. Munson will join at 11 and Sipple at 12:30 and Fanta at 1. We got hoops. We got football to talk about. Plenty to come on a Friday edition of the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. Speaking of sports, the NFL regular season is wrapping up. Week 18 this weekend. Couple games Saturday, full slate Sunday. Get on the action. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. Like I said, week 18 is the perfect week to take advantage of this because it's win or lose. You don't know who's trying in week 18. You don't know who's going to pull their starters out. You don't know what might happen on a minute-to-minute basis based on what's happened on the minute before that. So take advantage, bet $5 on a game, and it's $150 in bonus bets. That's win or lose. Then hop on the FanDuel Sportsbook app and check out all of the features there as well. Anytime touchdown scores, live same-game parlays, Explore tab, and the Parlay Hub as well. FanDuel.com/Happer and get in on that first bet. It will be a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. 21 and over, present in Iowa. First online, real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is not withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air is now open in Omaha, and we are looking for experienced plumbers and HVAC technicians to join our team. We offer company-paid employee health insurance, provide a company truck with innovative technology, and so much more. We will have open interviews Mondays and Wednesdays at our new location, 9321 J Street. Learn more at calljh.com/careers or call
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today, I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hey there, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Outdoor Nebraska update. It's hunting time in the Husker State. For a safe season, remember to be totally certain of your target and your background before you fire that shot. In a moment, ask yourself, is the bullet flight path clear? Is that a legitimate target? And what am I going to hit if I miss my shot? Please be careful out there. If you'd like more information on hunting safety, go to outdoornebraska.gov. That's outdoornebraska.gov. From wildfowl to owls. Great time of year to step outside and watch wildlife. Many animals are still active, plus the leaves have mostly fallen, vegetation is set back, and we'll have some warmer weather. Maybe you'll hike a state park trail or head to a public reservoir to do that. Oh, and don't forget your camera. Oh, it's on your phone, that's right. I'm Greg Wagner.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Great news. Evan Almighty seems to be on IFC this morning, Josh.
Oh,
I don't know what they do here in the morning, but the television, the smaller television, is always on the weirdest thing.
That's better than Magnolia Network a lot of the time. I got this theory that Nick loves shiplap.
Yeah, it's about 70% of the time it's on Bravo, and then the other 30 it's like a random movie.
Mm-hmm.
Today's choice is Evan Almighty.
To be fair, probably not a lot of options at 6 a.m. when Nick sets that TV.
That's true. That is definitely true. Munson's going to join us in just a second. Couple things left over from the previous one. Amazing Daniel writes in.
Hi, Amazing.
He says, I love when a name matches up like that. I know a country guitar player named Storm Rhodes IV.
Oh.
Like, what else would that guy do with his life?
If pro wrestling didn't work out for Storm Rhodes IV, yeah.
Storm Rhodes IV. What else is Jordan Hooper going to do?
It's not just the Hooper.
It's the Jordan. Yeah. Can't forget about that part.
Mm-hmm.
There's just, you're just screwed. Like if she had chosen to do track,
it wouldn't have worked.
It wouldn't have worked. She wouldn't have been very good. Wouldn't have got her jersey in the rafters. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of in the rafters, Steve writes in on the JTech Instruction Zone Twitter feed.
Hello, Steve.
Says, Happer, dig out an old baseball jersey and we'll have a ceremony where we hang it in the Zone studio rafters. Now I'm not going to pull a Jair Alexander and nominate myself to be put in the rafters here. I'm certainly undeserving of that at this moment. But there are some maybe that are. Some that have gone before us, Josh.
Oh.
Respect to some folks that have sat in this old beat-up chair before.
Oh. Whoa, hi. Music's still going. Let's turn that off.
Okay. We could... 1620 rafters is kind of a fun idea.
Splash.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be a Nick Baugh Creighton jersey sitting around here at somewhere.
We can make one.
Damon. We still got all the various shrines to Damon around the building.
You just hang those in the ceiling.
1620 rafters? Kevin Kugler? We could put a headset up there or something. I don't know.
An old necktie.
What about that one guy, Bob?
Oh, everybody loves Bob.
Yeah, I never met Bob, never listened to Bob, but everybody always talks about Bob and Kevin.
I've got a windbreaker that has his name on it.
Bob?
Yeah, I have an old unsportsmanlike conduct 1620 The Zone Kevin and Bob windbreaker.
Weird.
I might have to bring it in for afternoon, Josh, because it does not fit me.
I wonder if he would like something like that.
I bet he would love something like that.
Interesting. All right. Bryan Munson is coming up next. Oh, yeah. Jimmy, After Hours Jimmy tweets in.
Hi, After Hours Jimmy.
Says the other day, the smaller TV was on Hallmark channel.
Oh, I mean, 'tis the season.
I don't know what people are watching.
What goes on
and
we're not here?
And the worst part is nobody will seemingly take responsibility for it.
Every time we ask.
We ask because we ask. We're very direct with the morning show.
Yeah.
We say, what are you guys doing and why is it on this channel? I don't know. I don't know. Jay was on this before.
It's okay if you picked Bravo.
Yeah, it's really fine. I just want to know who did it.
Just tell us. Yeah, Saved by the Bell was on this morning, so I turned it to Bravo. I'm not judging you. I just want to know what happened.
That's all. Yeah, we're kind of nosy.
I'm trying to get in your head. What's your thought process when you get in here?
And so maybe we actually know more about the thought process now that they won't tell us. They're embarrassed about it.
Clearly.
And yet they leave the television on Hallmark Channel and Bravo and IFC to watch Evan Almighty constantly.
Clear your browser histories, so to speak.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on.
Oh, those guys, those Happer Show boys are about to come in. Let me turn to ESPN.
They will launch another investigative report at some point. So don't know if we're there yet.
Our hand has been forced.
By the way, I accidentally set my "We Are Doing a Radio Show" tweet to tweet at 10 p.m. tonight, so I had to go back and pull it out of there.
10 in the morning.
But what do you think? So did you see that picture of Connor Stallions at the Rose Bowl?
I did.
Go to my Twitter. I got a comp for you.
At Connor Happer.
Yes.
Oh my. Yep.
Don't you think he looks like the dean
Academy
from
Award
Community?
winner Jim Rash?
The dean from Community. Dean Pelton, I believe. He looks just like him. I thought that was him.
You throw a set of glasses on that bald head, yeah.
He's the dean. So just need Connor Stallions to say Jeffrey. Anybody who's out there who's watched Community would understand that. Anybody else would not. Munson will join us next. We will ask him. Remember the thought we had yesterday about how Nebraska is just really confident in this coaching staff is really confident in their ability to identify and then offer.
Sure.
Let's bring that up with Bryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com next on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Hi, everybody. Kent Pavelka here with why I chose Everlevel Concrete Repair for my driveway. They do it all. They fix cracks, lift sunken slabs, protect the finished product from deterioration, and all at a fraction of the price of replacement. It's not a Band-Aid like other repair methods. Everlevel's products are designed to last, which is why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Better yet, it all comes with a transferable warranty. Protect your concrete before winter. Call Everlevel today for your free inspection. Everlevel. They make your driveway Everlevel. Level up.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Looking for a sweet treat that will transport you back into time? Look no further than Ted and Wally's. With 2 convenient locations in Benson and the Old Market, it's the perfect place to satisfy your cravings. Whether you're downtown or in Benson, make sure to stop in. And if you're catching a basketball game, why not indulge in a delicious dessert afterwards? With over 3,000 flavors to choose from, there's something for everyone. Don't forget to check out our social media for daily flavors. Ted and Wally's, serving up nostalgia at its finest for over 35 years. Visit tedandwallys.com for more information.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips that you plan in advance, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends for which you make a group chat 3 months before so that nobody or anything is missing? Or your daughter's first birthday party. You planned it with such dedication that instead of the first, it felt like our 15's. The same way you plan each detail for those moments. Start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Sharp, voice of Omaha men's basketball. The Big Sky Summer League Challenge continues as the Mavs go on the road this Saturday to take on Idaho State. We'll be on the air with a pregame show at 6:30 on 1180 The Zone. Tip-off 7 o'clock for the Mavs and Idaho State.
KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
Come out!
Bryan Munson.
Hey, long call. Comfy left Zoom Buster. 63 Bang Z Maui. Alert. Paradise Z Burger Y Wrap on one.
Husker Online on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Embrace debate. Who had the better night, Jokic, Giannis, or Wembanyama? That's what's going on ESPN right now.
I might say Wemby, just because the Spurs.
Because he did a cool behind the back, off the backboard thing,
and the Spurs are bad.
Yeah, they didn't win though, famously.
But kind of based on expectations.
Not the buzzer beater guy, who only missed 2 shots.
I expect that from.
Oh, okay.
Him at this point.
I expect greatness.
Yeah.
We're joined now on the 42 Degrees Source Hotline by Bryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com. Munson, hello. It's been a while. How are you?
I'm doing fine, man. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. How do you feel going into the final weekend for your, could be the final weekend, I guess, for your beloved.
Don't do that to me. Don't.
I just want them to lose. I'm sorry. I want them to lose because I had a thing about them at the beginning of the season. I like them. I think they're like the second. They are the team that could beat the Ravens. They are the team in the AFC could beat the Ravens. But they also could miss the playoffs entirely, which is a fun little dynamic for Sunday.
It is. I mean, the 95% possibility it seems a little high. I mean, I read a couple articles that are saying like, the probability that the Bills are going to make it 95% in is like, if you don't win that game Sunday night, being dependent on anything else really bothers me. And the fact that you've got some things happening within the other matchups and not having the starting quarterbacks potentially, I think Pittsburgh rolling with even like their third quarterback. I got to get more up to speed on what else is happening in the other matchups. All I know is that Buffalo is full go. There's really nobody holding them back from an injury perspective. This is about as healthy as they have been, despite having
they're in
lost
good shape.
Milano and White early. Yeah. So you get Epineza back, you're getting all these other dudes back, and he was back last week and had an impact. And Von Miller has been pretty miserable and not doing well this season. He's definitely still held back by the ACL tear a year ago. But I think the offense is clicking. I think the new OC has come in and done a great job. The being favored by 3 in South Beach bothers me too, but I do feel pretty good about Buffalo's chances on Sunday night.
Yeah, it does feel like a game that, and the Dolphins are beat up and they just came off getting crushed, So and
don't they have both their pass rushing guys? Like didn't
Chubb?
Didn't they just lose Chubb too?
Yeah, correct.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
it's
got them. It's if you're like a Bills fan or any kind of sports fan who just wants to prepare yourself for the worst possible things to happen, you're telling yourself it has all the makings of this unprecedented loss because actually nobody thinks the Dolphins are going to win on Sunday night.
Yeah. Yeah, don't say that. I mean, I wasn't. If Buffalo goes out Sunday night and starts out the way they did against the Patriots a week ago, they're in trouble. They came out very flat. Although I have to admit, the Patriots always come out gunning, or the Bills always come out gunning to play against the Patriots. So that little rivalry right there is something to kind of always kind of throw where everybody is out, health wise, record wise, whatever. This one here though it's getting a little nasty. I think the whole Dolphins Buffalo thing. I think that those two teams are really, rising to the top in the AFC East. They've got the right pieces in place to kind of run that part of the conference for a number of years. That division is going to be incredibly difficult, depending on what happens with Aaron Rodgers kind of moving forward. And I'm sure the Patriots will not be waiting around to keep the fourth place view in that division.
Okay, so let's get off that. Good luck with your stress this Sunday, and just enjoy that.
Taking my heart pills already, man.
Yep, have fun with that. So give us. I got sort of a bigger picture question for you in a second, but let's go to the rundown sort of for the weekend here with the transfer portal guys coming in. You're starting to see that a little bit more. I guess I know the visit dates are sort of. Guys come in at kind of random times, but what's Nebraska looking at for the extended weekend here?
Yeah, you've already had, a couple of guys either already on campus or still on campus, and then you're looking at bringing 3 more guys in today. You've got a total of 5 portal guys in. So you had the wide receiver from Texas, Isaiah Neer, come in. That's actually was originally from Wyoming, I believe, and transferred out of Wyoming and then went down there, suffered an ACL injury or a knee injury, and then only played in one game the last two seasons. That's really a guy I think that the rankings and the kind of hype around him just gets kind of missed because he was kind of an afterthought in Austin. So that's got to be a guy I think that's pretty high on Nebraska's board, and probably why you saw him come in a little bit earlier this week. And you get Jamal Banks in from Wake Forest. Both those guys are pretty similarly sized. They're 6'3", 200-pound guys. Isaiah's from Texas. Banks is originally from Virginia. But it looks like Nebraska, is trying to really find that number one guy that, that they missed out earlier on, and now they're still trying to find a guy that can go into the room, help that young group, kind of groom them, keep them moving forward. I think that's pretty important. But then, starting today, you're going to get 3 more guys in town, and Jamal is probably still there till Saturday. And then I don't know what the rest of his plans kind of look like, but you get Dante Dowdle that comes in from Oregon, the running back transfer. That's a previous 4-star guy. And I think that you and I agreed, when Keelan Lacey went south in the class, there wasn't a lot of options for Nebraska. They just really couldn't go back. And even when you got Raiola back into the fold, you couldn't go back to anybody else that basically had visited, because it was so late in the calendar and the process and that cycle to where you just didn't matter. So I think that this is a really nice target. I know people were talking about the Ole Miss transfer yesterday online. I know. I mean, trust me. But usually, and this is the guidance that I would give to people, your listeners, when guys like that hit the portal,
they know where they're going.
They typically know where they're going. There's been some conversations that have happened before, and there's already an understanding about what that kind of transfer could be worth. So I would pay more attention to the guy that's coming in this weekend as opposed to anybody else kind of out there that's thrown their name in since. And then I think something else that I've been kind of referring to a little bit, in my 3 and outs and my tunnel talks, Nebraska's still light at linebacker. I mentioned it in chat yesterday, and it's something that Steve Sipple and I have been kind of talking about. I know that Rule and his staff, like Dvorak, they want to get into kind of this more positionless talk, and I for one am not a huge buyer of that. There's a very different kind of skill set that's necessary to play inside or outside linebacker in college. And I think that when you hide behind that, you do want to have some guys that can kind of move inside and outside. But to say that it's positionless, I think it says more to the roster that you don't have the right guys that they get. And this may be kind of an answer with that. So you get like Stephen Thompson coming in from Syracuse, obviously a guy that I think Coach White would have some familiarity with. And then you get like Ziri Alexander. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing Alexander's first name properly, out of Idaho. I've not watched any film on Thompson. I did on Alexander because Alexander, I think, actually got offered either like on Christmas Day or like the day after Christmas. It was really kind of an odd timed offer. So I had a chance to kind of sit down and watch some of his film. He is fun to watch. So a couple of linebackers also coming in with the running back today.
Well, I think they just need bodies too at that position, regardless of what you sort of think they can do. They kind of just need to bring in people at that position at this point. It's pretty thin.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting a couple guys, out of the class this year, and McGahee will be there in January. I'm not 100% sure on Shavers. I don't think that he is a guy that you can anticipate seeing there in January, but McGahee will be up, and McGahee's more, I would anticipate him to be more of a jack linebacker kind of guy. Don't really see him playing much inside. But I think that's really kind of the key right there. It's a very paper thin position, not based on like the talent. There's just a lack of dudes that can play the spot. And I know that's a great selling point though. However, when you start taking a look at like what's going on in the state next year in 2025, well, your top dude is Christian Jones, right? And Christian Jones is a person that I feel could be, either an inside guy or an outside guy, or could do a combination of both. And that's really a great selling point, I think, that you have there for that talented linebacker at Westside.
I will say this, they do, and Rule has mentioned this before, they will, and linebacker is one of those spots where you can take a guy who maybe looks a little bit different as a high school recruit and turn him, and he becomes a linebacker, whether he gets smaller or bigger, depending on which level of the defense he's coming from. So that's one thing where they can work with that a little bit as well. On the same, go ahead, Munson, if you have a response.
Yeah, I was going to say the one other thing too is that there is an obscene number of defensive backs in the 2024 class, and there is where we have them classified from an on-3 ranking really more coincides to where our projection is. Where Nebraska is projecting some of those guys like Braylon Prude, or even like a Roger Gradney, potentially moving down in the box. It's definitely not far-fetched. Prude's a guy that I could see definitely working more of that rover spot, and then Gradney's got a great build. I mean, that's a guy that honestly, if they still are light at running back, I could see him playing running back for Nebraska. He's got that ability, but he's maybe a guy that you could consider moving down from the back level and putting him at the linebacker.
Yep, no doubt about it. So speaking of, sort of big picture, just taking that and extrapolating it a little bit. Yesterday, or I guess it was 2 days ago now, Nebraska offered a few in-state guys. And I don't know, I don't think you'd call those guys under the radar, but it's a little bit early, still obviously, just got finished up with the 24 cycle. We're talking about the 25 cycle now. Maybe some under the radar guys in 25 in state got offers from Nebraska. And it sort of led me to this big picture thought about their trust in their evaluations. And when they identify a guy, regardless of his status, maybe some other staffs would have seen those guys and said, yeah, we could let that drag out a little bit. And maybe if the recruitment doesn't take off, he doesn't have a good senior year, then maybe we get lucky and we get him as a walk-on the back end or something like that. They're not playing that game from how I've read into it. They really trust their evaluations and they go. And I think that brings a lot of clarity sort of the situation, whether it be in state or just on your roster.
So, and I'll take it one step further. I don't think, I think there was a lot of talk about where A&M was maybe at with trying to reapproach Carter Nelson at the end of the early signing day cycle. And I think that this is also Matt Rule and his staff just kind of throwing it down and saying, I'm going to lock down all the kids I want from inside the state. And I'm not going to play the game of, say, trying to get back into the good graces with Jackson Carpenter, who already holds an offer from Kansas, that maybe then decides that he's going to start hitting a couple more camps, and then Gundy from Oklahoma State decides to offer. And then maybe a team like Missouri or Iowa State starts coming into the picture. Remember, this is a legacy guy too.
Yep.
I graduated high school with Tim Carpenter, and Tim is a terrific individual, and I know that Jacko has a real soft spot for Nebraska. But this is a guy also that he's been out, he's been making some trips, he's had some people get his eyes on him, and there's some really interested teams in him and his athleticism. So I don't think by any means that when you saw the offer go out to Jackson Carpenter that was a stretch by any means. And I know that's not what you were saying. And I know that Raymond Siebert, that's a little bit of a new name. I put him out on a list of visitors of note, I think late last fall. That's a guy that I think is still just kind of scratching the surface on his potential. I know he's 6'6" now, but that's a guy that can really extend out to 6'7", 6'8". You're talking about a guy that really could get to that Ingerson type of length, but not necessarily have that full of build. Maybe not Austin Allen, but definitely somebody that's a little bit more closer to that than more of a true tight. You're talking still kind of a hybrid flex style of tight end, at least initially. And if he could stack on some weight, maybe also guys we're talking about that moves over to defensive line. There's a lot of potential, having kind of watched some things with him.
And so I guess I'll take it a step further too. And what I just said, like, I don't think it comes from the place of, when you're offering these in-state guys and it's early or whatever. I don't think it comes from the place of, we just have to offer these guys and we have to get these guys because they're in state and we want to close. They obviously do want to do that. I think it's a secondary sort of, thing that they're trying to accomplish. Mainly it's just, I think they like the guy and they're not afraid to say, yeah, let's go. Let's make our like of him. Let's make our evaluation of him public and say, we're going to offer you a scholarship because we fit what you do. And I just think that's that's important for what the sort of message that they're trying to send, not just to in-state recruits, but just to everybody who they do recruit in general.
Right. And the two guys that you mentioned were in-state guys. I think there was another part, there was a role that was in play there. I can confirm from talking to a signee's dad this week that Nebraska doesn't pay attention to what the recruiting rankings and stars and services are all saying about their guys. They feel great about where they're at with their evaluation. There's two individuals that I think that they can kind of go back and say that they kind of started the snowball effect with them, with Kewan Lacey and Carlon Jones. Those were two guys that I know that probably had a little bit of something going, but when Nebraska came in and threw it down, it really kind of started to kind of get more eyes on, I think, at that point. So I do feel like they are confident in what they feel like they are doing with their evaluations. They feel like they're doing it both on the field, off the field, good for the locker room, good for the field. So they definitely feel confident there.
No doubt. Bryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com. Okay, Munson, we will let you go. Enjoy your weekend. Once again, try and stay calm on Sunday. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you later.
I'm in the full-blown pregame mode right now, dude, even though it's like
Are you
hours away.
Do you plan on jumping through any tables or anything like that?
You know what? There is one that kind of got beat up during Christmas time, so I don't know about starting it on fire and jumping off the roof necessarily.
Yeah, you don't have to
that might end up in some splinters in my backyard.
Every member of Bill's Mafia, pregames differently. So we wish you good luck with that. See you later.
Have a great weekend, guys. We'll see you.
Bryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com. Bill's Mafia
He's got nothing to worry about.
Let's keep saying that. Let's keep saying that. God, I just think it'd be funny if they missed the playoffs. But now I'm in this conundrum because I want them to make the playoffs because I feel like they and the Ravens could create the best AFC championship game, which is a huge bummer for me because I feel like I was right about the Bills, given that the entire season they just putzed around and almost got axed out of the playoffs because of it, but have turned it on basically the last 3 weeks.
I completely agree. I want you and us to be right about our preseason Bills prediction, but also if the Bills are not in this postseason, oh my gosh, the AFC is going to be completely
look at the quarterbacks,
boring and not fun to watch.
Think about the AFC quarterbacks that would be in the play. I mean, obviously you have Mahomes, but it's a dinged version of him because of what their team is at the moment. You would have Tua, you would have Lamar, who's going to win the MVP, and that obviously you keep him separate. Flacco, Gardner Minshew, maybe / Trevor Lawrence / CJ Stroud, and the dinged Mahomes. I guess it's not as bad as I thought it would be. I just was
whoever the Steelers are trotting out there.
I guess maybe it's less about the quarterbacks and it's more about, man, that team's just not very good. So yeah, who knows though? It's playoffs. Anything could happen. One guy jumps through the table and it's like a butterfly effect. It changes the whole world. Who knows? All right, we'll come back. Okay, so we got options here, Josh.
Oh,
so
love options.
You know what? Let's hold, because yesterday we had that discussion in the crossover about the 1,000-yard running backs. Let's hold that until noon, because I have went back and I have found every 1,000-yard running back in the Big Ten since 2011, since Nebraska joined the conference. So I want to parse through a couple things on that. We'll do that later. But we got basketball to talk about for this weekend and Ohio State's new quarterback.
Oh, yeah, they got their guy.
What's going on?
That's their guy. They picked that guy.
That's the guy that they picked. It's that guy. Next on 1620 The Zone.
The Connor Happer Show.
Who's pitching tonight?
Yu Darvish, having a great year.
The Connor Happer Show.
I know about that guy.
On 1620 The Zone.
What a mess.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Have dynamic divisions. You can literally do that by saying, all right, well, we're going to match up the teams that we have scheduled against each other, and they're in one division, and the other group is in the other side. Hell, you could change them every year if you wanted to, but at least you have structure of this team's going to have the best record on this side, and your tiebreakers are going to work.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Cloudy and cool to end the week for your Friday, with a high today in Omaha 36, but feeling like the upper 20s and lower 30s with wind chill through much of the day. A 20% chance of flurries mainly this afternoon and evening. Little to no snow accumulations expected. Staying mostly cloudy tonight, winds becoming light with a low in Omaha of 26. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here.
I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy. You know what? We should make an emergency communication plan. That way we're ready this year. At my dorm, we have emergency kits for earthquakes and wildfires, but I'm sure there's something more local I can send you with a link.
Okay. Smart.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Over the past few years, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected how we live our daily lives. Today, we also face a mental health pandemic that threatens our well-being as we attempt to rebuild our social networks and communities.
The pandemic has reminded us to value family, community, and our human connections. However, it has also left many of us feeling more isolated, confused, and alone, struggling to find meaning amid loss and uncertainty.
Today, 1 in 5 Americans experience emotional and mental health challenges, but many of us do not understand what we are facing or know how to ask for help.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, we understand what you are going through, and we are here to help. Our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all. We work every day to eliminate stigma, combat mental illness and substance use disorders, and advance mental health. If you or someone you love needs help, you are not alone. Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
Josh, you know that meme of...
I know memes.
So it's like the guy, there's just like a guy, and then you can put whatever you want over it. And then there's like the big muscular dog.
Yes.
So you're comparing the two things. So here's the verbal meme. Over the little guy, over the regular guy, you put Will Howard. And then over the big muscular dog, you put Will Howard in the transfer portal.
Everybody wanted him.
It's crazy. I don't know. Am I the only person who just doesn't think he's good?
Very average. He's going to wish he had Maserati Marv to throw the ball to.
Who?
Maserati Marv!
Thank you, Josh. Yeah, he's fine. I mean, you know, he was the top guy in the portal. He was the top. He was the top guy in the portal. And by the way, keep in mind this happened after Cam Ward declared his intentions to go to the draft instead, which I mean, maybe he comes back to college still, maybe he doesn't, but I know Ohio State was kicking the tires on that one. But Will Howard, the K-State quarterback, is going to go to Ohio State. He was probably the top quarterback in the portal, like I said. He's experienced.
He should call Kyle McCord, though, and be like, hey, how did you deal with winning but everyone hating you?
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned McCord.
Because he's going to have some of that.
I think so. Oh, yeah. I mean, things are already a little something going on at Ohio State. Things are already a little uptight over there, as you may have noticed over the last several weeks and months. But I'm glad you mentioned McCord because, like, not that I think Will Howard isn't an upgrade over McCord. I just don't think it's as big as some people are making. When you get the top quarterback in the portal, you're like, oh, we got the top quarterback in the portal.
Yeah.
That means something. In this case, I just don't know if it does. They're going to have good wide receivers, Josh. They're going to have a good run game. And, like, he's experienced and he's been there. He's seen stuff before, man. He's seen some stuff. But, like, if we're thinking about Ohio State quarterbacks and Justin Fields and CJ Stroud, like he's just not.
Feels more like a Craig Krenzel.
Well, ooh. Okay. All right. Let's go Ohio State quarterbacks. let's compare him to one of them. Craig Krenzel. Well, maybe Craig Krenzel. Craig Krenzel might not be bad, actually.
Kirk Herbstreit.
Kirk Herbstreit was kind of a backup, wasn't he? You could do like he's obviously not Braxton Miller. He's not JT Barrett.
Sure.
But he's those guys in a way, right? He's just not. He can't give you everything that CJ Stroud and Justin Fields were able to give you.
What's the difference between those guys?
The ability to throw the football at a really, really high rate. And then when you need to unleash the running part of your game, you could do that. And I think Will Howard will find it difficult to be that guy with that kind of pressure and be in the Big Ten. And then especially when they get into big games against the best of the best, the team up north, I feel like that's going to be hard for him. Now, I've been hard on Will Howard. Maybe I'm being overly hard on him considering what the overreaction was of him coming out of the portal. But I just don't like the ad. I don't like I was telling you guys I didn't love it at Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't love it for him at Nebraska. Obviously, I like it for him at Ohio State. For him at Ohio State,
sure,
right? For him to get to Ohio State is cool.
Not like he's going to get up to the shoe and go, guys, I think you're overselling me.
Exactly. So he's a 5th-year guy. He's not going to be a first round he's not going to be a first round top of the draft quarterback that can make all these throws. Oh my God. I thought you were tired, John. What happened?
Yeah. I'm still halfway through that tweet. I'll get to it.
Howard told ESPN, quote, "I'm glad I took my time with this decision. Through it, I got to learn about myself and about college football in general. It was a great process. I'm really glad I ended up choosing Ohio State. I knew if I passed this up, I'd regret passing up the chance to go be the quarterback at Ohio State. I knew I'd be kicking myself if I passed up this opportunity." In his career, Howard started 27 games, thrown for 48 touchdowns, 5,700 yards. He also has 921 career rushing yards and 19 touchdowns on the ground. Remember when he came in, when him and Adrian were splitting time at K-State a couple of years ago, 2022, right? Like Adrian was kind of the runner guy and Howard came in and ended up being Howard at the end of the year. And last year was last year. Like, I don't know. I don't want to be too hard on him. He's fine. But remember what I said about Ohio State a couple days ago coming off the break? I was like,
they're fine?
Yeah, things are fine at Ohio State.
Now, how did you mean that?
This could make things, this could accelerate things into the not so fine range. I may have concern.
Okay.
I may have concern.
I mean, there wasn't.
I just think you're better off if you're Ohio State grooming the next 5-star.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're asking the question, well, what else was out there? He's the best guy in the portal.
Yeah,
I just think you're better off grooming the next 5-star.
There wasn't a Bo Nix. There wasn't a Michael Penix.
Yeah, like
in the portal
take your,
this year.
Lincoln Kindholtz, who they got.
That sounds made up.
Yeah, it's a real guy. Take him and let him go play and develop him for a year. He's got the talent, right? At that program, with the expectations that they have, the quarterback has to be excellent. Because a lot of their games are guarantees. A lot of their games are wins. So it comes down to 1 game, 2 games. And I mean, hell, that's been the difference for Michigan for for this year.
Yeah.
In the close games that Michigan has had, in the good games that Michigan has had, the equal talent games, Michigan has had the better quarterback. Michigan had the better quarterback than Ohio State this year. Michigan had the better quarterback than Alabama. They had a lot of better other stuff, but your quarterback's got to be able to not kill you. Now, I was curious about JJ on the old first possession there in the Rose Bowl. Yeah. I was like, whoa, what's going on here?
Then they brought that other guy in for like a play or two.
Like, whoa!
And then JJ caught that pass with one hand.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, we're good.
He got things straightened out a little bit. From the YouTube, from Yippee.
Hi, Yippee.
Connor likes nothing and no one.
Oh, have you heard about a young man named
Bobby Witt Jr.? Thank you. Nikola Jokic.
Oh, yeah. Basketball started last night.
Basketball started many, many months ago, Josh.
Trust me.
Okay.
Celtics fan. I'm aware.
Okay. All right.
Got a nice ticket in on them later.
Which, the big one?
Yeah, the big one.
From the portal also.
Oh.
Oregon transfer quarterback Ty Thompson has committed to Tulane.
Oh.
I believe he was going to visit Iowa this weekend.
Picked Tulane over Iowa.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Tulane or Tulsa?
Tulane.
Okay. I get those two confused in my head. I'm sorry.
He appeared 17 games during his 3 seasons at Oregon. Has 2 years of eligibility left. Yeah, I thought the plan was for him to visit Iowa this weekend, and he's going to Tulane. I think they still got McNamara coming back for another year.
I'll go anywhere but Iowa. Just give me an offer. Any offer.
Here's the deal. Would you like to play 2 years or maybe 1 year and it go really well at Tulane? Or would you like to sit 1 year and then play 1 year at Iowa? Thoughts?
Yeah. Love New Orleans. Let's go.
Yeah, I think so too. Not exactly the quarterback cradle in Iowa City.
Did you see that boob on ESPN? I'm going to New Orleans.
Yeah, I got to be close to that. Get me to where the boob is.
Poll question?
Quote, Ty Thompson. I don't know. Maybe something like that. Get something like that in there. All right. Let's take a break. Josh will bring you the odd news. I still want to talk about the basketball for this weekend and all these 1,000-yard rushers. Remember the other day when I told you how not hard it was to have a 1,000-yard rusher?
Mm-hmm.
I've done some research.
Interesting.
We'll find out if I was proven right or wrong in the noon hour. Coming up next is the odd news on 1620 The Zone.
Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620 The Zone.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Since 1972, family-owned and locally roasted Host Coffee Service has been roasting the finest coffee for businesses and restaurants. If you're ready to change to a better coffee provider, it's time for Host Coffee.
Omaha's best coffee since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Roofing, siding, and gutters. Make the right call with the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that we can give our daughters everything they need to grow and learn. But not every child can focus on classes and play dates.
Nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. face hunger. That's 1 in 6. School lunch might be their only meal each day, and it's heartbreaking to imagine any child going to bed hungry. We're dreaming of a perfect day when kids can smile, play, and just be kids without worrying about where their next meal will come from. Feeding America is working to make that perfect day a reality.
Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. That food is given to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about doing things that make an ordinary day extraordinary. Learning to play an instrument, building a sandcastle, hosting tea parties. Hunger should never be an obstacle to growing up.
You can help end childhood hunger in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says,
avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks? Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
Start learning a new language today. Go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Only life had a remote control. You could pause or rewind. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
All right, Josh. Now we're multitasking.
We are?
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of food up here now.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty sweet. Once
Great
again, us getting the good part of the meeting and not having to actually go to the meeting.
Love it.
Good job by us. Just
deal.
working. That's all we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, see odd news. What do we got?
Well, as I said in the last segment, basketball started last night.
Yeah.
First Thursday without the NFL means the NBA returns to Thursday nights, and that means our beloved friends, Shaq, Chuck, Ernie, all back on Inside the NBA on TNT. And last night, also, Shaq had, it was announced his Orlando Magic number 32 would be retired by the team, the first Magic jersey to be retired.
Oh.
And rightfully so.
I didn't know it was the first. That's cool.
But that's not part of the odd news. The odd news is Shaquille O'Neal attempting to troll Charles Barkley's love of Diet Coke as we each grabbed a Diet Coke during the break to wash down our lunch. Shaq cheated on his deal with Pepsi to troll Charles Barkley. After a break for the holidays, Inside the NBA returned. I guess the holidays are summer and fall. And I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
NBA started last night. Inside the NBA returned. And Shaq talked about his New Year's resolution, which was him giving up his beloved Diet Coke. As the show came to a close around 1:30 a.m. Eastern, Barkley begrudged drinking a bottle of water, complaining, "This stuff, it don't even taste like anything." He's not wrong.
It doesn't. He's right about that. Yeah.
Shaq then walked over to the other side of the studio where he found an ice bucket stocked with Diet Cokes and began to drink one with his arm around Barkley. Smith and Johnson joined by partaking in a late night Diet Coke.
Wow. I love those guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
great
just
television.
keep making fun of each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Shaq has been a stalwart spokesperson for Pepsi since the 90s.
I mean, for the record, though, Chuck is right about water. But it's all right. It's good.
That's the appeal.
Yeah, water is good.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't taste like anything. How much water do you think Chuck's had since he retired? Maybe a couple on the golf course.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't strike me as a huge water drinker.
No.
No, I don't think I think you'd see Chuck walking around with his like Stanley or Yeti.
Oh man, I almost pulled a story today about people killing each other over those things.
Dude, I've seen some videos.
Mobs.
Yeah, it's getting rough out there.
It's pink. It's a cup. What
so,
am I missing?
No, I guess I'd ask the same question. So I understand that there is a craze about these cups, which I can't understand why.
They're too expensive for you to have every color under the sun.
So that's it. It came out in a new color, and people have to. Are they like Beanie Babies?
I guess, kind of.
So they're trying to collect them before they all go away, and then they think they could get rich off of them later.
Target released a pink one and I think like a red one.
Because that was the whole deal.
Valentine's Day.
That was the whole deal with Beanie Babies, right?
Yeah.
You were collecting them for the sole purpose of collecting all of them, so that one day the entire collection could be worth a significant amount of money. Right? Everyone knew that it wasn't for the actual collection of the Beanie Babies.
But nobody actually did that. Nobody made huge money off of that.
No?
I mean, I guess the people that sell Beanie Babies.
Yeah. I mean, those are the people that I'm talking about, I guess. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe people like playing with their Beanie Babies. I never saw that before. I thought it was just for the sole purpose of collecting them. If you can get that, if you can somehow start one of those like Ponzi schemes, basically, then by all means do it. Make a thing so that people want to collect the whole thing. USA quarters.
Oh yeah.
Great Ponzi scheme by the government.
I mean, those things cost $35 to $45. Like, why do you need more than one?
Beanie Babies.
Maybe two, so that
baseball
cards, you're always washing one.
Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
And now Stanley Cups. Not the hockey Stanley Cup, Stanley Cups.
I did see a tweet about that last night. It was y'all worried about the Stanley Cup when you need to be lacing your boots up and worrying about the Stanley Cup or something like that.
Poll question, by the way. I could do this.
Okay.
Is the Stanley Cup like Beanie Babies?
Okay, yeah, good one. Good
That'll
one.
go
You
up.
put that up, I'll tell you about story number 2. It involves one of our globe's greatest directors. I was going to say nation's greatest directors, but he belongs to a different nation. Christopher Nolan says a Peloton workout turned into a scathing live movie review as the instructor, who probably didn't know Christopher Nolan was watching, unloaded on his film during class.
Man.
The Oppenheimer director won a New York Film Critics Circle Award Thursday for Best Director, and during his acceptance speech, he recalled the time a Peloton instructor took a shot at his work. Christopher says he was in a virtual Peloton class when the woman leading the workout, Jen Sherman, not sure why we had to name her, but we did.
Yikes.
Started talking trash about the movie Tenet, which is rightfully terrible.
So I didn't know that those Peloton people give their takes.
Yes.
That's
you got to
kinda,
talk about something while you're on that bike.
I thought they were just yelling at him like, come on, pedal harder.
Just 4
You
more
fat
rises.
bastard. Come on. This is the easy class. I'm the easy teacher.
Well, young Jen asked if anyone had seen Tenet or understood Tenet. And as she put it, quote, "I'm not kidding. What the bleep was going on in that movie?" She also groused she'd wasted hours of her life that she'd never get back.
That is quite possibly one of the unluckiest things I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
Or the luckiest. I don't know how she views it. But to Peloton instructor talks trash. It could have been anything in the world.
Yeah.
And it was Christopher Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
And Christopher Nolan was in the class, unbeknownst to her.
Couple things. Christopher Nolan did not name the Peloton instructor. Internet sleuths found out who she was. I don't know how.
How did people find out about this?
I don't know how, but had to clean that up. And also, if you've given us the work that Christopher Nolan has given us, you get a clunker. It's fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, as far as the merits of Christopher Nolan, I'm still in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. So, I respect the take. I respect having a take.
Yeah, she had a take, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to get these takes off during this Peloton class.
You got to have the ability to have a take. But didn't know Peloton class was done.
Mm-hmm. Finally, we end the odd news in Orlando. A customer has filed a negligence lawsuit against Dunkin', claiming he was injured by an exploding toilet at one of the coffee chain's locations in Central Florida.
Uh-huh.
How you like that? You like that?
I feel like we should continue.
Okay. Paul is seeking more than $100,000 in a lawsuit filed Wednesday in state court in Orlando, claiming he suffered severe and long-term injuries following the explosion of a toilet in the men's room of a Dunkin' in Winter Park, Florida last year.
Uh-huh.
After the explosion left Paul covered in human feces, urine, and debris, he walked out of the men's room seeking help from workers. An employee told him that they were aware of, quote, the problem with the toilet. Since there had been previous incidents, the lawsuit says, without diving into further details about the explosion.
Dunkin' should be probably a place that just doesn't have a toilet.
I think legally you have to have a toilet if you serve food.
Yeah. But do people sit in there? Nobody wants to sit in the Dunkin'.
Yeah, I mean, people do, but it's not like a Starbucks where it's like, okay, I'm
right. It's not a restaurant.
I'm not going to sit here and work all day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See, it always seems very hectic at a Dunkin'.
They always seem like, and I enjoy their products. I enjoy the people that have helped me, but it always seems like they're in the weeds.
Yeah,
like
absolutely. There's a lot going on.
It's like at a Starbucks
Something's
or
beeping
a
and
Panera,
buzzing. People are running around.
The person's going to be like, so how's your day going? I'm going to stop everything I'm doing and chat with you. Whereas the Dunkin' person's like, I'm doing 3 jobs today.
East Coast, baby. That's what
that's
speed
it.
is.
Yeah, maybe that is.
I think when you go to Dunkin', you expect some of that East Coast speed. And when you go to it, you get it. Now, with that comes the negligence of the exploding toilet. You're not worried about the toilet if you're working at a Dunkin'. You got 100 coffees to make. You know that scene in The Bear where they're like, 1 billion chickens, 500 beefs, you know? That whole thing. Fire, fire, fire. And
Two hot coffees.
The poor guy comes up and who's made all the pastries. He's like, hey, check it out. I made this. Get out of my face. 2 hot coffees. Yeah, it's more than 2, though.
I really thought Cousin was going to lose his cool at some point in that restaurant. He never did.
No, he was really good.
Personal growth.
God, what a great episode that was.
Excited to see it.
Singing Taylor Swift in the car.
Oh.
That's a great show.
That is. Watch The Bear, everybody.
Watch The Bear.
Even if you've seen it, watch it again.
I might. I just might, Josh.
It goes quick.
Yeah, it's very fast. You could binge it in a week. A day.
Fair point by Mad Piper on YouTube.
What, Mad Piper?
Oh, come on, Connor. If there's a toilet there, customers have a reasonable expectation that it not explode on them.
I'm just saying if you're going into a place, you could find a place with a better toilet.
What's next door to this Dunkin'?
Right. I mean, that we don't know.
What vape shop is next to this Dunkin'?
Like, you have to make the conscious decision if you're going to go to the bathroom. Do I want Dunkin' so much that I have to deal with their bathroom? Or
and all that implies. That could be a messy bathroom or an exploding bathroom.
Or could you meddle with it a little bit and say, I'll take a little bit less on the food and the coffee experience for a better bathroom experience. If that's the case, Dunkin' is not the answer. I just think out of the places, Dunkin' would have probably a bottom tier bathroom. But you're right. Mad Piper.
Yeah.
That's a reasonable expectation for a consumer. Certainly. All right. Thank you, Josh.
Also, if you're an employee, you got to stop everything you're doing and help that person.
I wonder what an exploding toilet actually looks like and does. Is it just the water?
I don't have a lot of answers for like how the toilet exploded.
Yeah. Exploding, if we're being honest, seems a little, kind of strong probably.
Yeah, feels like you're stretching the truth a little bit, Paul. I believe the customer's name was.
You never know. All right, that's the odd news. We will come back noon hour. 1,000-yard rushers in the Big Ten. How hard is it? How has Nebraska done since they've been in the league compared to their peers? And who might be next to do it? Next on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Hey, it's Happer for the FanDuel Sportsbook. We are headed into Week 18 of the NFL season. Playoffs are gearing up, and it's time to get on the action with the FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed, and all you have to do is place a $5 bet. So heading into Week 18, everything's on Sunday. Pick a game or just pick a bet. Anything across the board. A $5 bet. It's $150 in bonus bets. That's win or lose. That's your incentive. Get to the FanDuel Sportsbook app. And when you get there, you'll find that there's same game parlays, live betting, and there's this new thing called the Explore tab where you can check out bets that other players around the country are wagering. That and plenty more in the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Head to FanDuel.com/Happer and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. 21 and over, present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued. It's not withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Take your home to the next level with Level countertops, cabinets, and flooring. If you have a kitchen, bath, or closet that is completely dysfunctional, now is the time to make them functional. Level countertops, cabinets, and flooring is your expert for taking your home to the next level. The staff will listen to your needs and dreams and create a unique space specifically for you and your family. Visit the showroom at 192nd and West Maple or online at levelomaha.com. That's levelomaha.com.
Lanahaw Nurseries has been your dependable full-service source for locally grown trees, plants, and landscape materials. Rooted in tradition, our products and services are consistently ranked best of Omaha in quality and value. From design to install, our experts are here to help bring your landscape vision to life. Start your next project this weekend. Visit us at 192nd and Center. Lanahaw Nurseries, your homegrown headquarters since 1974.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
The backseat. Check the backseat. All right, come here. Check the backseat.
Gets in your head, right? Good. Because every year, dozens of children are forgotten in the backseat of a car by a parent or caregiver. All never thought it could happen to them. But with changes in routines, distractions, or a sleeping child, it can happen to anyone. Parked cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. So get it in your head.
Check the backseat.
A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
Couple thoughts on exploding toilets.
Yeah, everyone's eating lunch on a Friday,
including us.
Let's do this.
Asian Joe tweets in.
Asian Joe.
He's Asian. He's Joe. What's wrong with calling him Asian Joe?
It's his name by choice.
I assume the exploding toilet would look like the chocolate fountain at Golden Corral. Yeah, that is some tough imagery. Certainly. Also, I like this one guy who's joined our Twitch stream and is just spamming our comments. He's wondering about the chat. Have you seen this guy?
I have, and I learned today that we don't have the ability to block or put people in timeout if they're coming from Twitch like we do YouTube. I probably shouldn't say that out loud.
You can spam our Twitch chat? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Mr. Nong Nong is working on it right now.
I like this one. Chat interaction by the very real Mr. Nong Nong.
I like this one. Wow. It's
Wario.
It's like Wario. Yeah.
I'm gonna win.
All right. So the other day on the crossover, I was triggered by the fact that it just randomly, I don't know why it came up. I was randomly triggered about the fact that Nebraska hasn't had a 1,000-yard rusher. And I offered the idea that it's not that hard to run for 1,000 yards. Nebraska hasn't had a 1,000-yard rusher since 2018. And that was Divino Zigbo. And so I thought, all right, let me check my work here. Let me see if I'm being insane again. Is it actually that hard? And our colleagues, Nick and Gary, they were like, yeah, but it's the Big Ten and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, let me take all this into account. So I went back since Nebraska's been in the league since 2011. Josh,
Connor,
this is where you come into play.
All right.
How many times do you think a single person has run for 1,000 yards in a season since 2011 in the Big Ten Conference?
Well, there were 2 that did it this year. So
there were 2.
That's how many years?
13 seasons.
Okay, 26. I'll go just to get some room for error. I'll go 30.
73.
Oh!
It's happened 73 times since 2011. And here's the other thing. For those of you who are saying like, oh, well, yeah, it probably just happened at Ohio State every year because they have the best offensive line, or Michigan because they have the best offensive line. Let me give you this little nugget. It's happened 73 times since 2011, but only 46 unique players have done it. 46 individuals have done it, which tells me it's about the running back, right? There's been some guys who have run for 1,000 yards, but it's about the running back. And my question, why we got into this basically was, why the hell can't Nebraska have a good running back? And people are always like, oh, Happer, well, they got to get an offensive line first. No, I don't want to hear it.
It's really hard.
Amir Abdullah did it 3 times. And Amir Abdullah is the best running back Nebraska's had since they've been in the Big Ten. Like, he was really good. Did Nebraska have great offensive lines during those years? I thought they were fine. Probably just as fine as they are right now. So I do this to bring hope to the equation. Is it possible? Yes. You just got to find the right guy.
Just want to watch that run against McNeese State.
Find a good run. Please do. Find a good. Remember when Amir had dreads and he was just a kick returner? Those were great times.
Oh, look, put that move on. Go to the left.
I loved those.
Oh, yeah. Spin around.
That wasn't even a run. That was a pass.
It was.
Those didn't even count for rushing yards.
Good block there.
Westerkamp. Yeah.
Look at that. Wow.
Westerkamp threw the ball.
All of that needed to beat McNeese State.
That's the guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska hasn't had too many guys like that. Guys like that run for 1,000 yards. They receive for 1,000 yards.
He was a dude.
And not all of them are running backs, but there's only, let me go ahead and recount here real quick. 1, 2, I think there's 4 different seasons in the Big Ten in the last 13 years since Nebraska's been in the league where a quarterback has run for 1,000 yards in the conference. Denard Robinson, actually, I should say 5. Denard Robinson did it twice. Taylor Martinez in 2012. And Braxton Miller did it twice. That's it. No quarterback has done it since Braxton Miller in 2013. So it's not happening.
Sad.
That's fine. That's great. I'm just telling you. That's what it is. There's another. So I want to go through the school standings in a second, but here's another part of this that I thought was fun. Just names. This basically doubles as guys naming dudes on a Friday.
Oh my gosh, it does.
I love guys naming dudes. Sometimes, dudes just sit around and can have the most fun in the world for 20 minutes just naming dudes.
Instead of going to therapy.
Absolutely true. Let's name some dudes. Welcome in to Guys Naming Dudes, the first edition of 2024. 1,000-yard rushers in the Big Ten since 2011. Do you remember Monty Ball?
I do.
That's a guy. Do you remember Silas Redd from Penn State?
Oh, yeah.
He did that.
Hadn't thought of that one.
Do you remember Fitzgerald Toussaint from Michigan?
Yeah. I had forgotten his first name.
And
but
now we're cooking. Do you remember Northwestern's Venric Mark?
I do not.
I do. I remember all these guys. These guys are so much fun. Do you remember? Let's see. Who are some more deep cuts here? Do you remember Minnesota's David Cobb?
Oh, yeah.
It's a good one. Do you remember Michigan State's Jeremy Langford? Justin Jackson. So Justin Jackson is an interesting footnote in this. Justin Jackson is the only person on this list over the last 13 years of Big Ten football to run for 1,000 yards 4 times in a row.
Whoa.
4 times in a row? Yes, 4 times in a row. From 2014 to 2017, Justin Jackson of Northwestern ran for 1,000 yards each of those seasons. He's the only guy on the list to do it. There's a couple who have done it 3 times. There's a bunch who have done it twice. Justin Jackson did it 4 times.
That feels very hard to do.
It feels very hard to do. But he did it.
Good take by me.
Do you remember? So, by the way, low key, Indiana has some guys on this list. Do you remember Indiana's Jordan Howard?
I do.
Do you remember Indiana's Divine Redding?
No.
Come on. Do you remember Iowa's Akram Wadley?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Do you remember Iowa's LaShawn Daniels?
No.
Do you remember Ohio State's Mike Weber?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's fine. Do you remember Michigan's Karan Higdon?
Yes.
That's a guy. Do you remember Indiana's Stevie Scott?
No, too generic.
Come on!
Too generic a name.
Oh, that's a good one. Do you remember Minnesota's Rodney Smith?
Rodney.
Do you remember Michigan's Hassan Haskins?
Oh, yeah.
These are recent now. Tyler Goodson, Evan Hull, Chase Brown, Mo Ibrahim, Blake Corum, Braylon Allen, Nick Singleton.
I remember Blake Corum.
And then this year, Kyle Monungai and Blake Corum, who has now done it twice. So 73 times it's happened since 2011. 46 unique players have done it. Here's the school standings. Who do you think is the school that is most represented on this list? The most 1,000-yard rushing seasons since 2011. It's a tie, so you have 2 options.
Okay. I'm going to go wild card Wisconsin.
Correct. Can you get the other one?
It's got to be Michigan or Ohio State, right?
It does.
I will go Ohio State.
It is. Yeah! Josh Johnson, everybody. Wisconsin and Ohio State each have had 11 1,000-yard rushers.
11
1,000-yard rushers over the past 13 seasons. Michigan's had 8. Penn State's had 7. Northwestern's had 6.
Northwestern.
Minnesota's had 6. Nebraska's had 6. Now, Nebraska hasn't had 6 people do it. They've had 6 different seasons in which it's happened. So Taylor, the only people to do it have been Rex in 11, Martinez, Abdullah, and Azigbo with 4. Iowa's had 5. Indiana's had 5. Michigan State's had 4. Illinois had 3. Maryland's had 2. Rutgers had their first this year. And who have I not mentioned? Who has never had a 1,000-yard rusher since Nebraska's been in the Big Ten in 2011? That would be the only school that does things a little bit differently in the conference, and that is Purdue.
There it is.
The cradle of quarterbacks. with Aiden O'Connell,
Raiders,
David Blau, and things of that nature. So once again, the point's being here. It ain't that hard. Get a running back. All right. Get a good running back, and the running back is responsible. There are some great names on this list. There are some names who have done it, twice, in 3, and in one case 4 times. Right? So Iowa hasn't had one. Well, I guess Iowa had Goodson in 21, but Iowa's known as the school who runs the ball and all this stuff. Obviously, they limit possessions, so they don't take that many snaps on the offensive side of the ball. They, ideally they don't. Ideally they do, I suppose, but they don't have that many offensive snaps in a game. So some of that is responsible for their numbers. But Iowa's only done this 5 times, and they've only had it once since 2017 with Goodson in 2021. So they've kind of, it's not their offensive line getting worse, although I think it probably their offensive line probably has as a result. They just haven't had running backs. They haven't decided on one guy. You got to pick a guy and you got to go with it. And I just, when you look at what Nebraska has done, and in a little bit of a case, you look at what EJ Barthel has done in his time of being a running back coach, I think he likes a lot of guys. I think he rotates through a lot of guys. And what they are doing right now in the transfer portal / the recruiting game would point to me in that they are going to rotate through some guys, and they're not going to have a 1,000-yard rusher next year. So I'm shouting all this into air, but Nebraska is a school where they need to have a dude at running back. It's just one of those things. You've always had it, leading up to the last however many years of Nebraska football now, where they have fallen off the table a little bit, but they used to kind of always have it. And you just have to kind of commit to it and do it. And those guys can pop up and they can be there. Do I trust the staff's ability to identify? And I don't know. I think that's a TBD. I look at running back,
Really?
I think I have, I don't know if concern is the right word, but I think just by the way that they've approached it, last year, like I said, I don't know if concern is the right word, but and maybe I'm thinking of a romantic version of running back at Nebraska, right?
A little bit of that.
I think you could get 1,000-yard running back. I think you could have 1,000-yard running back if you just decided that you were going to.
Do you think Barthel likes a lot of backs, or just in the absence of one workhorse running back? Well, until we get him on campus, we're going to go with a bunch of guys.
You could make the case for that because I don't know if they have that guy right now, but I don't know that they've pursued it. Outside of maybe your plan was to have Kawan Lacey come in and be the starter dude next year. But what I see when I look at Nebraska's running back room next year is, even if you get Dowdell from Oregon, you throw him in the mix with Emmett Johnson and Ramir Johnson and
the Johnson boys,
Gabe Irvin, and they don't look the same in terms of their body types and in terms of what they bring to the table, but I think they would get the same sort of result. So I think their thing is to piece it together. But you bring up a fair point, Josh. Maybe it's just in the absence of not having a dude or not being able to find a dude. I wonder about their pursuit of it as well.
Let's get Matt Rule on the horn here.
Now, also keep in mind, and by the way, I'm not basing this off of last year, but keep this in mind. They were so different on offense than they intend to be going forward, considering how much they had to use quarterback run in 2023. That's not going to be the case going forward. So
hopefully,
I believe that. I mean, Dylon's not going anywhere, right? You're not running that guy
again. Hopefully.
You cannot. I mean, you physically can't. He'll just leave.
That's why I hope not.
Yeah. Jeff writes in.
Hi, Jeff.
Great segment. Monty Ball was the crying guy with the Broncos, right? No, that was no Sean Moreno.
Yeah.
But I love naming guys. So
yeah, let's name some.
We can name some no Sean Moreno if you want to. I did love no Sean Moreno. Jack John writes in on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter.
Read these word for word. We don't want to, misquote any of our fine listeners.
Why? Why do you say that?
I just want to make sure you're positioning their words correctly. You're not speaking for them.
No, never. I would never.
Okay.
People forget from the listener. That's not me. That's not me. That's not me. I didn't say that. People forget that Devin Mockabee was about 1/4 of football shy of 1,000 yards in 2022. Yeah, you mean in that one game against Nebraska? Yeah, I remember that. That was a bad day. He ran a lot. I'd never seen a Purdue running back run that much. It was impressive. So I think there's a few lessons to be taken away from me here. Like I said, I think good running backs are just that, and it's regardless of who you have on the offensive line or what your setup of your offense is. Like, good running backs are good running backs. I mean, think about it. A lot of those guys that I just mentioned, there's been some NFL success there.
A little bit.
I mean, Monty Ball was there. He was in the NFL, and James White was in the NFL for a long time, and Amir Abdullah has been in the NFL for a long time, and Le'Veon Bell had a great moment in the NFL before he quit the NFL. Ezekiel Elliott, same thing before he got fat or whatever.
Still in the NFL.
Melvin Gordon, Tevin Coleman. Let's see, Saquon Barkley. Who else? Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins did it 3 times, I think. Ran for Jonathan. Yeah, I mentioned Jonathan Taylor already. Zigbo even had a cup of coffee. Mo Ibrahim done anything? Kenneth Walker. And then Braylon Allen coming soon. And Blake Corum will find a place too. Chase Brown has made a name for himself a little bit this year in Cincinnati. It's like, those guys are good players. You can get those. They exist. They are there. It's the position, and it's not necessarily a better offensive line in order to make it happen. Also, quarterbacks, it ain't going to happen. I don't care what kind of offense you're running. You're not going to run for 1,000 yards in the Big Ten as a quarterback.
Whoa.
Without dying.
Whoa.
Tell it to Taylor Martinez. Tell it to Denard Robinson. They both died.
Ohio State had some dudes.
Braxton Miller, not anymore.
They don't seem to want to go after that prototype of quarterback anymore.
No, because they can recruit 5-star wide receivers. Yeah. Those guys are good. They all go to the NFL. We can do this with wide receivers as well. 1,000-yard receivers in the Big Ten. Obviously, there's going to be probably less of them over this period of time. I'm sure there's been some. Miles Sanders is another guy that I mentioned who's had some NFL success. I mean, at this point. So, like I said, I would love for Nebraska to do this. I am a bit weary about their urgency to do it, to run for 1,000 yards with one guy. I just think it does wonders for your offense too. I think, Happer, you could just piecemeal it with 2 dudes that run for 1,000 yards or 3 guys that run for 1,400 or something like that. Like, no, I just think it makes a difference when you have one. I like the idea of having one. I like the idea of having that guy getting into a rhythm and playing throughout the entire game with spells here and there.
I mean,
there have been some teams during this period of time who have had 1,000-yard rushers in the same season for the same team, right? That's few and far between, but it happens.
And I also like just situationally, hey, it's 3rd and 3. What are we going to do? Just give it to this guy. He'll get 4.
Yeah. Doesn't depend on anything else. Doesn't depend on your wide receivers trying to get open, tight end trying to get open.
I don't have to scheme up something.
Yeah,
you don't have the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah, you don't have to run a double reverse flea flicker to get 8 yards. Those are the stupidest plays, by the way. Every time a double reverse flea flicker doesn't go for a touchdown, I think I get more and more triggered at the world.
So every college football game you get triggered.
They have check downs now that they can read off. I'm like, no, that's not why you run a double reverse flea flicker. You serious? If I was the defense and the team just ran a double reverse flea flicker and they got 8 yards and a first down and the guy walked out of bounds, I'd be like, we got him.
We got him.
They're done.
They got nothing.
We just won the game. Nice first down, but you guys can go home now.
That's funny because I've actually thought that during some Iowa Western games where some teams have trotted that out. And I'm like, oh, they brought out their trick play and it didn't work.
You're
we got
done.
this. We got this, guys.
Good night. That's all you got. You had to do all that crap to get 6 yards. Congratulations.
Congrats on your first down of the half.
Try and run it again. See how well it goes. Coming up next, our good friend, our dear friend, Stephen M. Sipple, who we haven't spoken with in quite some time now.
Wow.
How's Sipple doing?
Who knows?
Who knows? We'll find out next on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on The Crossover.
I want to hear the thank you at the end of it, too.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. When you order a Big Mac at McDonald's.
No, thank you.
Thank you, caller Connor.
Good job, Connor. No, thank you.
Maybe it was Connor Stallion. No, it could have been.
Mornings with Sharp and Hanley. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620. The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Overcast skies continue for your Friday with a chance of flurries this afternoon and this evening. Accumulation not expected. A high in Omaha of 36 degrees with light winds out of the south-southeast up to 10 miles an hour. Seasonally chilly tonight with a low of 26, winds becoming light. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey, KETV News Watch 7.
Creighton Sports Update. It's a big upcoming weekend for Creighton basketball. The men's team will be at home in the CHI Health Center tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. to take on Providence. Women's basketball hits the road to take on DePaul in Chicago tomorrow at 3 p.m. The game will be televised via FS1. To purchase tickets and follow along all things Creighton athletics, visit gocreighton.com. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
Paid actor portrayal.
I didn't see it coming. Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. The mortgage, car payments, and all the other bills. Even things like our annual summer vacation would be out of reach. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. I knew it was time to stop putting it off and get life insurance right now. I got on my computer and went to ethoslife.com. In just 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected. Thanks to Ethos, my family won't have to worry about the bills if the unpredictable happens to me.
Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's GETETHOS.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Omaha Maverick women's basketball is back at home, and they take on University of Montana Saturday at 2 at Baxter Arena. Hear all of the Omaha women's action against the Montana Grizzlies Saturday at 2 o'clock on 1180 The Zone.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Now here is a quarterback in the transfer portal.
Oh. Tom Brady.
Not quite.
Okay.
Maryland quarterback Talia Tungavailoa has entered the transfer portal as a graduate transfer, according to 24/7 Sports. As a graduate. All right. Call Sipple now. I just got a text from Sipple that read, now. Now ready. Okay, now he's ready. How about that though? So Leah Tungavailoa into the portal. He had declared for the draft. And so I think for all those guys, you probably sit there and you're like, all right, I have a year of eligibility, so I could test I could dip my toe in the water of the draft, but also let's dip my other foot into the water of the transfer portal and see what my options might be if I don't like what I hear from the old NFL.
He's 23.
It's a good strategy. He's got another year left, and he'll make somebody really happy next year, I think.
Somebody somewhere.
So Sipple joins us now, by the way, on the 42 Degrees the Source hotline. Sipple, hi, how are you?
Happer.
Yes.
How you doing? Sorry about last week.
That's okay. I think that was like 3 weeks ago now, but that's okay.
It might have been holidays.
Yeah. How have you been? How was your holidays?
How was it? It was good. Surprisingly good. Surprisingly tolerable, actually.
Good.
So that's good. How about you? How was yours?
That was very good. We had a week off from doing the shows. It was good to recharge the old batteries.
This qualifies as extreme small talk, Happer.
It does. Hey, did you hear that Talia Tungavailoa is in the portal?
I don't know how to take that.
It's true. I'm just telling. I'm trying to break news to you. It's true. Maryland quarterback Talia Tungavailoa is in the NCAA transfer portal.
That is incredible.
I agree. It is incredible.
I don't know what to say. First of all, I thought his eligibility had expired. Apparently not.
Yeah, I think there's still a COVID year hanging on for him for some reason. I don't know.
Well, you can never tell on those, can you?
No.
I mean, God, that's amazing. Well, somebody's going to get a good one.
That's what I said. I think he's going to make somebody very happy next year. I wonder.
Yeah, when you guys patched me in, I thought you were talking about Quinshon Judkins, and I was like, wait a second, I think he got 2 years of eligibility left. But
now you want to talk about a guy who's going to make somebody happy next year? Yeah, that's the guy.
Well, yeah. How about Michigan? I've heard Michigan already.
Yeah,
as a possible suitor. I mean, Corum's leaving. Just plug him in.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when those guys go into the portal, we could all start dreaming, but they already probably know where they're going.
Yeah. I think generally, not all of them, but I would think a guy like that would have a pretty good idea where he's going.
Okay, Sipple. So speaking of good running backs, I know you like talking about running backs. So we were talking about it the other day, and I thought, wow, Nebraska hasn't had 1,000-yard rusher since Devine Ozigbo, and now I've been thinking about it every day since. So I went back and I looked at all of the 1,000-yard rushers in the conference since Nebraska joined the conference.
Oh God, good idea.
Yeah, it was a fun exercise. There was only 2 who did it this year: the Rutgers running back and Corum. But over the now 13 seasons, it has happened 73 times over the 13 seasons. Nebraska's been responsible for 6 of those, and none of them since 2018. How does that sort of sit with you as far as the frequency in which it happens? Because every time I talk about it, I'm like, man, I think Nebraska really needs to and should have 1,000-yard rusher. And I don't feel like it's a pipe dream or some far-fetched thing for Nebraska to be able to have that. But I hear differently from people whenever I bring it up.
Well, there's a couple ways to look at it. Now that you broaching that stat did make me think about it a little differently. If you have an 1,000-yard rusher, you have a big-time running back.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's not. You don't necessarily need a 1,000-yard rusher to have, to be deemed a successful running game because a lot of teams, you just don't see many people loading up one guy anymore. It's not. Especially in the Big Ten.
It certainly happened less over the last couple of years, for sure.
Right. So if Nebraska had a scenario where it had two running backs go for, one go for 550 and the other go for 700, that'd be pretty good. You'd feel pretty good. Or probably needed maybe a little bit more than that to feel good, maybe 800 and 600 and something like that. But anyway, yeah, it is an interesting conversation. I guess maybe it would make more sense to avoid getting mired in that 1,000-yard number and just say they just need a big time running back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably a good way to look at it. But I really do believe I know it happens less now, but I really do believe in having one really good dude, and loading him up a little bit. Like I'm still a believer in that.
Still a believer in Amir Abdullah. I mean, how quickly we forget that Amir Abdullah, he went for 1,600 yards in 2 separate seasons at Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Not just 1,000. He went 1,600. I believe you could double check it. I think he went 1,600, 1,600 back to back.
That is correct. And in the year before that, he went for 1,100.
Yeah, now that's the kind of guy we're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not too much to ask. It shouldn't be at Nebraska. You should be able to get a guy like that.
Do you think?
They used to have two in the same program, or sometimes three in the same program.
I know. Do you think Nebraska in this coaching staff? How do you think they approach it? Like, how do you think they approach the position and where you get your yards from at the position?
Well, I mean, that conversation got tabled, because of all the injuries.
Yeah.
Specifically, I mean, at the quarterback position to a certain extent, and then at the running back position. I know we've had the conversation. I think we're not guessing on this stuff. Rule lays it out how they want to play, but it was a little different this year because they brought in Sims who could run, and then they went to Harburg who could run option, and even Chubba who can run option. So the way Rule characterized the offense, he said it one day, just said it in very clear terms. He goes, "We want to be a downhill running team that uses play action and sprinkles in option, pure, conventional option like Nebraska used once upon a time." That's why they were using, they're leaning kind of on Ron Brown to help them. And I think even Osborne to a certain extent.
Yeah, they were different this year for sure.
But yeah. Now different because they had a running quarterback, and they brought in a running quarterback, so they have that. I don't know how much now. I mean, they're not going to do that with Dylan Raiola. So now we know.
No, they are not.
No, so now we know what to expect. They do want to. I mean, I read comments from Dante Dowdell's dad, and he says, I mean, the reason they're attracted, Dante Dowdell, the Oregon running back, who's either here or coming here for a visit. Part of the appeal is, much of the appeal is it's a downhill running game, and they're gonna use that big back and then work off of it with play action. And you got to do more than that, but that's a central focus, and Rule has laid that out. And so you can kind of get an idea what he wants here by just how he talks about Gabe Ervin, the fact that they're bringing in a 6'2", 218-pounder to go with Irvin, a 6 foot, 225 pounder, Happer, it gives you a pretty good idea what the head coach wants to do.
Yeah, I think they know. I think they know which style in which they want to run in it. I just don't know, like, if they want it to be dispersed amongst 2-3 guys in the run game, or how much that matters to them. I think they're really about, like, hey, whatever, we're gonna get the win in any way necessary, which is
what matters. What matters is in that conversation is, first of all, do you have a running back that you can lean on like that? Is he physically able? Does he produce at a level that you could give him the ball 22 times and he can get you 1,400 yards? Can he withstand it? Can he withstand that pounding? So you're talking probably about now Amir Abdullah was not that guy, but he was not that big, but he wasn't that small. I mean, by the time he left, Amir looked like a Big Ten running back.
Definitely.
But it requires a certain level of strength and physicality that a lot of guys just don't have. So, and then I think that Gabe Irvin has the level of strength and physicality, but does he have the talent? And you just say, "Hey, we're riding Irvin this year." I don't know about that, but you might be able to say, "Yeah, we're going to ride Irvin a lot of the time, but we got to mix in some guys." Now, if you have George Rogers or Herschel Walker, I guess maybe a better. I mean, it's different, right?
Closer, yeah.
So it just depends on personnel.
I think so. And Josh brought that up. We were just talking about that exact thing. But I do wonder about their sort of willingness to, even if they had the opportunity to have it sort of be the one guy, the feature guy. I wonder about their willingness to want to do that compared to their willingness to want to sort of diffuse it out and disperse it out through, 2 or 3 guys in the run game.
Except I think at that point you're overthinking. Not you. But
probably. No, you're probably right. I probably am.
Yeah. If you have Herschel Walker or let's say Lawrence Phillips, you're not going to say, well, it's just not our style to load up this guy, even though he can probably get you 1,700 yards. Just use him. I mean, that would be what. Hey, if he can do it, then do it.
But one way or the other, Sipple, you mentioned it. They're going to have to figure that out in the run game in a conventional way from the running backs, because, like you said, they're not running Dylan Raiola. Dylan Raiola is going to run for 0 or less yards in 2024. That would be my guess. So they're going to have to find 600-700 rushing yards that they got from a quarterback run game this year that they're not going to have.
Right. It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, you're going to need the running back position much more now going forward, which again explains why Dante Dowdell is here or coming. And my guess is they'll get him. And what we're talking about on the radio right now is the pitch.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot of opportunity here. You're going to get a lot of opportunity because you're one of our 2 big backs. You and Gabe Irvin are the dudes, and you're going to get a lot of action.
What do you think he would be in the case of Dowdell, however you say it? Do you think he would be brought in with the pitch with the idea that he's the number 1 guy right away?
No, I mean, I think no. I mean, but in that upper tier. I don't know. I don't think they would just tell him he'd be number 1. They might.
Right. At the very least, at the very least, he has the ability to play right away. But is he the number 1 is a different thing.
I know how I do it. I just would say, look, you know how we want to play, and you're 6'2", 218. How I mentioned that, and the other guy, Gabe Irvin's 6'2", 225. We got some guys who are pretty good as well. But I mean, you're exactly what we're looking for, and you got to have 4 or 5 good ones in that room, and they would, they do. They have 4 pretty good ones right now, but they could use another one, especially one with that size. I mean, I just wouldn't take anybody right now, but this was a 4-star player in Mississippi. I don't look at his film and I'm not blown away by it. It's good. it's definitely good, and it definitely is viable. And he definitely would fit the Big Ten. And I think he could get you, like if you said, we're going to load you up, I think he'd get you 1,100 yards. I think he's at, oh my God, I just said, I think he could. I don't think that's what they're going to ask him to do. The comp is Darren Diedrich. He reminds me a lot of Diedrich. Diedrich was he ran for 1,200. He ran for 1,299 in 2001 was his big year as a junior. And that's who reminds me. Diedrich, you don't think of as being, he's not, he was good. He was very good.
Yeah.
But he's not, he wasn't the dynamic back that everybody thinks of when they think about Nebraska. And I could see Dowdell by the time he's out of here being something like that.
Yeah, if you look at the list of the 73 people that have, or the 73 times that a Big Ten running back's had 1,000 yards rushing over the last decade plus now, there you'll recognize like there are some really really good ones, and then there are also some like, all right, that makes sense. He had 1,000 yards in a season, but you're good, that's for sure. What about their pursuit of wide receivers in the portal? Speaking of big bodies, they're like 6'4" transfer wide receiver. Does that sound good?
Yeah, both those guys sound good. Is it Isaiah Naynor and Jamal Banks? Yeah, both of them. And then when you read about them, like when you read about what Sarkisian said about the kid from Texas, Isaiah Naynor. I hope I'm saying his name.
I think it's Nayer.
Nayer. Okay.
I think you threw in an extra N there.
Yeah, for some reason. Nayer. If you go back and read what Sarkisian said about him when he was at Texas, he's a good red zone guy, good deep red zone guy. When you need a score, he's good body control, big body. And those players, and Banks is that way too. Banks is more proven. Nayor, you just wonder how he's going to come off the knee issue. He's got a knee issue. He hasn't played really in 2 years. So that all factors into the conversation. I obviously like him though. Both of them. I've become sort of obsessed in the Big Ten with how hard it is to score on like first and goal at the 7, first and goal at the 8, first and goal at the 9. So hard to get in. Much easier if you have those big body guys. You can, there's a variety. I'm not a big fan of the fade route. Don't get me wrong on that. In fact, I hate the fade route, but I can't stand it. I mean, I'll never understand the fade route, but you can, it helps a lot to have those guys that can go up and get it with someone draped on them. So that's what those guys mean to me, but they also mean experience. I mean, their Banks in particular is really proven. So is Nayor, but Banks recently has proven. They're huge to me. Now, if you could get them both, it'd be. I mean, this is what you got to do. I mean, I'm really interested in those 3 guys and also the linebackers. But you got to get them. You got to try to get 2 of those. I think you got to get Dowdell one of those receivers. It's time. We can't just keep thinking Nebraska's going to emerge.
That's right, Sipple. You got a 5-star quarterback. The clock is ticking.
Right, it's time. You got to bring guys in.
Yeah.
That's why that 5-star quarterback was here the other day.
No doubt.
It's time.
Sipple, before we let you go, how closely are you watching Nebraska ball tomorrow in their trip to Wisconsin?
Planning my day around.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm really interested. I think they can win the game. I think it'll be a close game for sure. This is big. I mean, they're kind of the key. I think obviously they're full of confidence right now. I'm sure they have Wisconsin's attention, and I think they got a lot of the league's attention. When you beat Michigan State, it does that. I know they've had a couple of rocky losses, but they're pretty good. Just a question of how good now. Yeah. We'll see.
Could be pretty unhinged on Tuesday at PBA when they host Purdue.
Sure. That's game's winnable. They've done well against Purdue at PBA. Remember they got really were victimized by a bad call the last time Purdue was here.
They were.
And then I think the time before that, they beat Purdue, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't look at that as, oh God, Purdue, there's no shot. No, I don't look at it that way at all. I think these are going to be two close games coming up.
Yeah, at home. Yeah, why not? You can give them a crack. That's for sure. Okay, Sipple. We appreciate talking to you as always. Enjoy your weekend.
Happer, thank you. We'll talk soon.
Of course, anytime. Steve Sipple of HuskerOnline.com, the On3 network. Hater of the fade route. Lover of when the guys do first downs with their nose.
With the sniff.
Yeah.
Quick clarification, because we've kind of been all over the place on it. Adam Rittenberg clarifying for us. Baby Tua.
Talia.
Baby Tua.
Uh-huh.
Would need to get an extra year approved by the NCAA to make a move for the 2024 season.
Oh, he'll get it.
I don't know that that's true.
I don't know. Aren't waivers dead?
He is the Big Ten's all-time leading passer.
Is he really?
Yes.
My God. Time's a flat circle, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what day it is, what year it is. Tua, give him the extra year. Tua, give him the extra year.
Baby Tua.
And then Ohio State can kick what's-his-name out and bring in him.
No, you go to the U, and then the U gets their quarterback. Both Tagovailoas are in Miami.
We can't get the U back.
And it's back.
That'd be horrible.
So much sniffing.
You might go to like USC or something like that. What if he went to like USC?
Oh, they love quarterbacks there.
Okay, we'll come back. I want to talk about some TV ratings.
Then he'd still be the Big Ten's leading passer.
The Big Ten's leading passer. We'll talk about some TV ratings because we got the review of 2023, which is always very fun. And then John Fanta. We will talk about Nebraska ball with John Fanta. I specifically asked him, I said, John, we're going to talk about Nebraska ball. You good? You up? And he was like, hell yeah.
He knew what Nebraska ball was?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
We'll do that at 1. Come back. More next on 1620 The Zone.
For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
Hey folks, Kent Pavelka again to tell you about your local concrete experts at Everlevel Concrete Repair. Now, if you have cracked, uneven concrete, Everlevel can fix it at a fraction of the cost compared to replacement. This is no Band-Aid. Their products are built to last. It gives your concrete the durable protection it needs, and there's still time. I chose Everlevel for my driveway, and I've got peace of mind with their long-term transferable warranty. Everlevel's products and customer service are top-notch, and that's why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Say it with me. Everlevel, Everlevel, Everlevel.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Hey there, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Outdoor Nebraska update. It's hunting time in the Husker State. For a safe season, remember to be totally certain of your target and your background before you fire that shot. In a moment, ask yourself, is the bullet flight path clear? Is that a legitimate target? And what am I going to hit if I miss my shot? Please be careful out there. If you'd like more information on hunting safety, go to outdoornebraska.gov. That's outdoornebraska.gov. From wildfowl to owls. Great time of year to step outside and watch wildlife. Many animals are still active, plus the leaves have mostly fallen, vegetation is set back, and we'll have some warmer weather. Maybe you'll hike a state park trail or head to a public reservoir to do that. Oh, and don't forget your camera. Oh, it's on your phone. That's right. I'm Greg Wagner.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Oh, I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
Did you know, Josh Hodson, that people seem to enjoy the NFL?
I had heard this before.
The NFL status as the most watched sports league reached new heights in 2023.
New Heights podcast with the Kelsey brothers?
Yes. The NFL accounted for the top 56 largest TV sports audiences of 23. That's right. Each of the top 56 most watched sporting events that happened in the year of our Lord 2023 were NFL broadcasts. 56.
I mean, how many solo windows are there?
Not one thing inside the top 56.
Not 56.
Is not an NFL event. Which is, I mean, pretty unbelievable to think about. You have, all the playoff games, but many, many regular season games. Like you said, individual windows, Thursday night football, Sunday night football, Monday night football, wild card rounds, like all this stuff.
I'll bet
50.
a lot of those are not Thursday night football on Amazon Prime because it's on Amazon Prime.
That is, let me see. Are there any TNFs on here? Week 14. I mean, just a lot of, Thanksgiving.
Sure. Christmas.
But yeah, you're right. No, I don't think there's any Thursday nights in the top 50. They're doing fine though. And so in order to get to the game that we actually want to play, which is one of the top 50 most watched sporting events of 2023, we just have to do non-NFL style. What was the biggest sporting event that anybody watched on TV that wasn't a broadcast of the NFL? It was Ohio State, Michigan.
Oh.
19 million people watched Ohio State, Michigan.
Connor, that's football.
Which just barely got left out of the top 56 of the most watched sporting events of the year. How far do you have to go down the list to not get a football game, Josh?
I'll go 100.
Well, I'm on the non-NFL category.
Oh, okay. It's a whole nother list.
It's a whole nother list. So top is Ohio State, Michigan, then the SEC championship, then the national championship, which is hilarious from last year. And then
remember that steaming pile?
Yeah. It would have been a lot higher had it not been a steaming pile. Then it was the college basketball national championship, UConn and San Diego State. Amazingly.
Which was not a ratings bonanza, really. I mean, UConn, San Diego State.
14.7 million people watched that. Then the Kentucky Derby. Then Game 5 of the NBA Finals.
What happened in that?
The Nuggets won the NBA title. People forget that.
Interesting. Quarter.
Damn it.
The first one I'm good on though, right?
Yeah, that was a quote.
I
That
just
was a
know one
quote.
from today. God, this is gonna be a really taxing deal for me. Then the Final Four game between UConn and Miami, then the Masters, some more NBA playoff games, and we scroll further down the list. There's nothing crazy that we don't, didn't expect to be on there. I wondered if Nebraska popped on the list as a top 50 non-NFL sporting event watched of 2023, and their game against Colorado was the 39th most watched non-NFL sporting event of 2023. Then I wondered, hey, Creighton made a deep NCAA tournament run. They were good last year.
Oh, sure.
They played in some interesting windows as far as television is concerned. I wonder if they popped up on this list. And they did.
Oh, really?
It was a great game, Josh.
There it is.
It's a great, memorable game that ended very well. The Elite Eight game between San Diego State and Creighton was the 46th most watched non-NFL sporting event.
Look at that. 2 spots higher than the Daytona 500, the Super Bowl of racing.
That's exactly right. More people like Creighton basketball than NASCAR. GOAT.
Where'd it go? My eye was drawn to the women's national championship game, LSU and Iowa.
Yeah.
24th on this non-NFL list.
Okay.
Just under 10 million eyeballs.
Cooking a little bit.
Just technically just under 20 million eyeballs.
And then they did it. Our friends at Sports Media Watch also sorted them out by like the most watched event by sport. So like NFL, Super Bowl. Most watched college football game of the year was Ohio State, Michigan. Most watched college basketball game was UConn, San Diego State in the national championship. Then most watched horse race was the Kentucky Derby. Most watched NBA game was the finals, game 5. Most watched golf event was the Masters. Most watched World MLB game was World Series game 5.
Bad news for Nick here.
Yeah, how far?
F1. 1.96 million was their highest race. That was the race in Miami.
They got doubled up by the College World Series final.
They are nestled in between the highest ranked UFC fight.
Hell yeah.
Which was a prelim, and PBR, not the beer, the professional bull riding.
Yeah. Not far behind is the U.S. Figure Skating Championship, the women's free skate.
Although it did rank higher than the women's College World Series.
Yeah. Good job by that sport. We love that sport. All right. That's what's going on in TV ratings 2023. Josh also has the list of like the things that people watched, not just sporting events. So what was the most watched non-sporting event that we had? The Oscars?
It was a forgive me, I don't
the State of the Union
in front of me.
People don't watch the State of the Union.
People don't watch the State of it was a political event of some kind. I believe it might have been a Republican debate of some kind.
Okay.
And then it was the Oscars that nobody watches anymore.
Oh yeah, the Oscars are canceled. Nobody watches
Nobody watches it, yet it was the second most watched non-sporting event of the year.
Yeah. TV ratings never lie, man. They never lie. Unless you play a college basketball game right after an NFL window and it's like Creighton and DePaul, and it's the most watched college basketball game of the entire year. Then TV ratings kind of lie. All right, John Fanta's next. Speaking of college basketball, he's Mr. College Basketball. We'll ask about Creighton, the Big East, Nebraska, the Big Ten. We'll go around a little bit to some other teams as well. Fanta's up next on 1620 The Zone.
I'm a fabulous driver.
The Connor Happer Show.
I'm one of the best friends you could ever have in your life.
On 1620 The Zone.
I hate you.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio. This is 1620 The Zone.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. If there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, And I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanting to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Email us on the Equitable inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can hit me up, agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts on life at Hanley@1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard. Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks? Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
Start learning a new language today. Go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is your home for the big game. Whether it's the NFL or a rivalry on the hardwood, you will find all the action on Oscar's top-of-the-line audio-video system. With 40 TVs and massive dual projectors, the game has never looked better. Pair that with their award-winning char-buffed wings and $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials, Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has everything you need. 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone.
All right, welcome back. 1 o'clock hour of the Connor Happer Show. You're on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Creighton and Providence tomorrow at the Chi. Providence without Bryce Hopkins are coming off a loss. What's going on in the Big East right now? Nebraska tomorrow on the road at Wisconsin at 1:15. Nebraska got a chance to get out their stamp and start stamping stuff. I don't know what they're going to be stamping. They're going to stamp something.
Can't triple stamp a double stamp.
No, they're going to try and stamp some stuff. Maybe they stamp their way into the top 25 if they get that win. John Fanta joins us now of Fox College Basketball and various other platforms. Hello, John. Welcome back to the show. How are you?
Hi, guys. I'm doing well. It's great to be talking with you out there in Omaha. Always fun to join you.
Yes, thank you for doing it. So I was scrolling through your Twitter right before you came on, and I saw that you talked to Tyler Kolek and you asked him about the Shaka Smart defensive stance cutting off Baylor Shireman from baseline drive. What kind of reaction did you get on that one? Also, people have been talking about that around the country this week about in using Shaka as an example.
Yes, very much so. And I think that Shaka Smart got a message and understands that message that he received from the Big East after that game, that you cannot do that going forward. I think that's part of what Shaka has done at Marquette. He has put them on the map by establishing a culture of hunger and desire. And those words are sometimes cliche and produce an eye roll, but I really do think that he's found a happy medium at Marquette. You know, he was at VCU, and at VCU he leads them to a Final Four. VCU's got a great fan base. He goes to Texas. Texas, you got to get 5 stars.
Yep.
And that doesn't match Shaka. You could still recruit well, but he was getting kids that didn't fit him, and he was trying to be somebody he wasn't. And Texas basketball, much like their football program for a while, was going through, that identity crisis of just because you're getting kids with stars' names doesn't mean that you're developing an actual program identity. Well, he gets back to Marquette. Marquette's in a happy medium zone between VCU and Texas, in my opinion. And they're all about basketball, and they've got a rich fan base. But make no mistake about it, Marquette-Creighton is a rivalry. Yep. Last year when Marquette won at Creighton and really sealed up the Big East regular season, Smart leaped up into the air. Greg McDermott did not like that. He'll tell you he's fine with it. He didn't like that. And Creighton fans they don't like Marquette, and they shouldn't. So that's a budding rivalry. It's become a nice rivalry in the Big East. There's history there, and it's fun to watch.
What do you make of the conference so far of the Big East, where, in the first couple nights, we saw what we thought was going to be the top of it get completely flipped over upside down with Marquette losing and Creighton losing and UConn as well. So I guess now that we've stabilized a little bit and we've crossed over into 2024, how have your thoughts changed or adapted on the conference?
I think that we are just in the beginning of what is going to be a really wild ride in this league. Because Villanova's 3-0 right now. They're not going to finish there. One of the three comes against the DePaul team. I'm going to go on record right now. I don't think DePaul will win a game in the Big East this season. If they do, it'll come over Georgetown, and that's about it. So Villanova is 3-0. Now, we were doubting them after they lost to the three Philadelphia schools and putting them down. And they had a right to be put down there, but it's almost like we gave them a preliminary death sentence again. They're very much a good basketball team. I think they're a top 25, top 30 team in college hoops. And so they have wins over Memphis, North Carolina, and they went to Creighton and that was a toss-up game, and it typically is when Villanova and Creighton get together, especially in Omaha for whatever reason. But I think in this league, the key question is, when does Donovan Clingan come back? And when he does come back, what's he going to do? Because feet injuries with big men typically don't end great. So UConn is 12-2. I think they're the most complete team in this league. But they're 0-2 on the road. And tonight, they're at Butler. Very intriguing game. Butler is much improved. Providence with a horrible blow yesterday. Bryce Hopkins being out for the year hurts them, guys. I think now they're going to be a bubbly team when it's all said and done in the NCAA tournament conversation. Marquette, excellent. They're the second best team in this league, if not the best team in this league. If Clingan is still down, then Marquette can very well win this league. Can Creighton emerge? Yeah. The answer to the question is yes. And, Creighton struggled against the Mountain West. Well, there's a reason for that. The Mountain West is a good league that's going to put 4 or 5 teams in the NCAA tournament. But the other thing with Creighton is, and this is a big question in the Big East, when is Creighton going to get consistent point guard play? They miss Ryan Nembhard. Stephen Ashworth hasn't fully panned out yet. Does it mean he's never going to pan out? Of course not. Greg McDermott's one of the 10 best coaches in college basketball. He will figure it out. It's going to be a wild ride. I think that the winner of this league goes 16-4. But this is going to be a fascinating ride, and it's whoever can get hot. I mean, we've seen teams win 8 in a row in this league out of nowhere and emerge. I think there's some dark horses. I think Butler's a dark horse. I think Xavier's going to be the team you don't want to face in late February because Sean Miller's going to keep getting them to evolve. And guys, Seton Hall's beating UConn and Providence. But at the end of the day, there's nothing easy in this league.
What is Creighton now, maybe ceiling-wise, compared to what people or you yourself thought about them at the beginning of the year when, they're coming off of an Elite Eight run. Obviously, they lose they lose Kaluma and Nembhard. But now we look at them, and you mentioned the point guard play and some stuff that they have to figure out. I'm with you. I think Creighton, I think offense, Greg McDermott, they're going to get that part of it figured out. But still, you have to answer the question about the ceiling and what they potentially could be if things end up on the good side for Creighton. Yeah. What is that, and has it changed since November?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I always am thinking to myself, do you want to overreact, right? Because it's a long and winding road. I do think, last year they made the Elite Eight. And guys, look at the NCAA tournament. When you're playing a Sweet 16 game against Princeton, who would have been able to predict that this time of year?
Yeah.
So then when they end up in the Elite Eight, people are saying, wow, they're in the Elite Eight. Well, yeah, the tournament is draw dependent. So could this team make another Elite Eight? Of course they could. It all depends on your seeding and where you get placed. Now, right now, you take a look at where their resume lies. They've got some work to do to get the right seed in the NCAA tournament. Because, you take a loss to a UNLV and you've swallowed some lumps here and you look at it and you say, okay, they're in an okay place. Right now, I'd say they're like a 6 seed, but you'd like to be a 4 or a 5 because it's not a 3. They're not going to get up that high, though. I would say for them, my ceiling's adjusted from Final Four to now Sweet 16.
Yeah.
And if they make the second weekend, that's an accomplished season. If they go beyond that, that's huge. Could it change if Ashworth gets going into a complete rhythm and they develop a little bit more depth? Yes. But I think that's the biggest thing, guys. Right now, this Creighton team can beat you if their core players are all succeeding. But if Alexander or Shireman are having an off day, this team is just not deep enough that somebody can fill the void left by one of those players.
Tomorrow, the matchup in Omaha is against Providence. Bryce Hopkins, you were there the other night when he suffered the injury. How different are they without him?
Well, we'll find out tomorrow, but I think the answer is very. I expect Creighton to win this game by double digits. This has a curse written all over it for the Friars. I don't see how they can beat Creighton without Hopkins, because Hopkins is the matchup problem. He causes a matchup issue. He's going to post you up. He's going to hit 15-footers. He can drive and score. He can get fouled. Now, without him, Providence has to play smaller, and they don't have enough scoring. Like, you just lost a 16-point-per-game scorer and a guy who, if he's not scoring, he's garnering defensive attention, and it's leading to weak side open shots. If we want to get into the X's and O's, give you a taste of that like when he's getting swarmed or doubled, it leads to ticket gains or a Jaden Pierre or a Corey Floyd to being able to capitalize on a jumper. He's a top 7 scorer in the Big East. And I think he's a top 5 player on his best day that had legitimate NBA draft potential. Now, he hasn't shot the ball well this year, but it doesn't matter. He accumulates. He's a guy that's going to get you. He's going to walk in the gym and get you 16 points.
Yep.
So now you take that off of a team that isn't exactly great offensively to begin with, right? They're in the back half of the Big East in offense. Now, they're a good defensive team, but, guys, Providence just lost a guy from an offense that's ranked 147 in efficiency right now. They're going to struggle. They're going to have issues tomorrow because Creighton's going to say, Devin Carter, you're not beating us. Or Devin Carter, you go and get yours, but we're going to cut everybody else off. I expect Creighton to cruise tomorrow afternoon.
John Fanta's with us. Let me switch gears here, Fanta, and ask you about the Big Ten and Nebraska. You mentioned them the other night. It's Fred Hoiberg's best team in Lincoln. I think that's pretty clear. They're 12-2. They had the big loss to Creighton where they didn't play well, and then they got a really bad second half up in Minnesota. Other than that, the resume is literally spotless so far for Nebraska. Obviously, the competition hasn't quite been there yet. Wisconsin and Purdue now back to back, and then when you put them in context with the rest of the Big Ten, what's your evaluation of the first half of Nebraska's season?
Yeah, my evaluation is that they've put themselves in a position to make the NCAA tournament, and that if the tournament was today, they would be in there, probably as a 10 or an 11 seed, but they would be in there. And for this program, they haven't gone to the NCAA tournament in a decade. So that would be big. And, I sensed it sitting at Big Ten Media Day in Minneapolis. Fred Hoiberg's pretty candid, or at least I feel that he is. And you talk to the people that cover the program closely, and they say Fred is awesome to talk with.
Yeah, he wears it for sure.
He sat down and he said, look, he goes, we have disappointed. He goes, but, and he goes, I'm not here to be coach speak. He said, I believe this team is going to turn a corner. And guys, sometimes coaches step up to a podium and they say that, and you're like, okay, yeah, right. You roll your eyes. I got to tell you, I believed him. And I think that it's coming true. They have 4 guys averaging at least 12.5 points per game. So when you have that, you have to have that to be successful. If you don't have offensive balance in this league, which is rugged and defensive oriented, And, it's not always pretty in the Big Ten, but it's tough. If you don't have different options and a guy that can go out and get you 20-plus in a game, you're going to struggle. So here's the thing. They can walk into a gym and say, we've got guys to negate your best players. We have different threats for your defense to go up against. They're a tough scouting team this year. And we have a guy that on any given night could go off and be the best player on the floor in Keisei Tominaga, and that's exactly what he was earlier this week against Indiana. So for me, I look at it and say, this is a team that in the Big Ten can finish in the top 5 of that league. And all you have to look at with them is the offense. The offense has gone from about a top 150 unit to now a top 40 unit in college basketball. They've got experience. They've been there before. And I think you're seeing that experience all rub off for this team. And, they're able to accelerate a little bit more and play a little bit faster. But I think overall, they've just got bodies. And C.J. Wilcher's been around the block. Juwan Gary has been around the block. Tominaga now is playing with more experience and just more wisdom, if you will. So, and, Bryce Williams is a senior. And he's been very consistent for them from a scoring standpoint, averaging 14 per game in back-to-back years. So, and a transfer that came from Charlotte, but it's translated. I think that's big for him, is that we were wondering how that would translate. And Bryce Williams, it has translated to Nebraska thus far, that he can score your 14 points per game and shoot the 3 ball competently, pretty well, at 38%. So I like this team. I like their depth. They've got experience. And Fred doesn't have to over-rely on one player. That's just it. Tominaga can go off, but they don't need Tominaga to be unbelievable every night to beat Big Ten teams. They can shoot the 3 ball, and they can go about 7 or 8 deep. I like this team's upside.
The league is super interesting, John, when you look back, the last time Nebraska won 20-plus games, they didn't make the tournament. It was in 17-18, and they were a top 4 seed in the Big Ten, and they just didn't have enough strength of schedule, from the RPI net perspective at that point to get from the conference, where they could bolster their resume enough to get to the tournament. They were left out with 22 wins. It looks similar this year from my perspective in the Big Ten. I don't know what you see when you look at the conference sort of from top to bottom. There's obviously Purdue, who's a number 1 team in the country right now, national title contender, and then outside of that, you kind of don't know what you're looking at. What do you see sort of with the Big Ten in the next couple months as we get ready for March? Could we be talking about the same thing where the league might just not be strong enough in order for some of those teams to get across the line?
Yeah, I think that it's about a 7-bid league. Okay, I think that's what we're looking at here in the Big Ten, and I do agree with you. I mean, the league is not as strong as it's been, in the past couple of years in terms of depth. So but I still think that they've got enough, because anybody who's able to hand Purdue a defeat, if the rest of your resume is decent, you're going to make it.
Yep.
To me, the thing that I would be, raise my eyebrows over is Illinois now with Terrence Shannon suspended.
Mm-hmm.
And those are serious allegations. And we'll see how that situation evolves. But you to talk basketball, as awful as that is, that news. To talk basketball without him, that's a team that right now they're ranked 9th in the country. Guys, they're not 9th in the country with him not on the team. So they're a team that they're going to take a fall. I really believe that. I think their win over Northwestern, albeit a nice win, and Marcus Thomas was good. I don't think they'll make the tournament, but they're not going to be a threat in the tournament. But Wisconsin's intriguing to me. Ohio State, I think Ohio State's much improved. They're another year older. They were so young last year. But to me, it's the depth factor. Indiana's not a tournament team. They're not good enough. Maryland's been a huge disappointment. I mean, Maryland was supposed to be a top 20 team, and offensively, they're dreadful. Rutgers is not a tournament team anymore. Michigan is going to make a coaching change after this season, in my opinion. Penn State is down. Michigan State, here's the thing. Michigan State could end up being the second best team in this league, but because they didn't collect enough in their non-conference, it doesn't help you as much when you beat them.
Yep.
So the point is the league didn't do enough in non-conference play to get 8 or 9, so they're probably going to have to settle on 50% making the tournament.
Yep. That's what it looks like to me as well. Fanta, this is fantastic. We can't wait to see you in Omaha. Also, we have to get you out on this because you're not only a very busy man going everywhere calling college basketball games, reporting on college basketball games. You're also going to have a busy next couple of weeks. Your Cleveland Browns are going to go to the playoffs. Yeah! Wow. Look at this. How excited are you? What are you going to be doing while you're in an arena and trying to watch a Browns playoff game?
Let me do it again. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go.
Yeah, I think he'll find a way.
I'm buying. I'm drinking all the Kool-Aid. I got my orange Kool-Aid. I got my brown and orange boxers. Fellas, I'm all in. I believe in this team. Joe Flacco has totally changed. It's amazing. I've been on this planet 28 years. We have not had a professional quarterback until about 5 weeks ago. And it's kind of unbelievable when you get a pro. And now you're seeing why Cleveland's been pegged as a team that can win games because the talent's there. It's always been there. And now all that talent on defense is performing at a high level. Myles Garrett is right up there for Defensive Player of the Year. That defense is nasty. And, the biggest hire they made in the offseason was getting Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz is a guy who knows very well how to be a great defensive coordinator. He did it in Philadelphia. He's done it before. That was a game-changing hire. And Kevin Stefanski has had faith in that defense. See, in the past, he didn't have faith in his defense, so he took gambles in games. Sometimes they worked, sometimes they didn't. Ask Brandon Staley how he's doing, right? So Kevin Stefanski deserves NFL Coach of the Year. When Nick Chubb went down week 2, I thought we are screwed. And he has found a way to keep on evolving and emerging. And, the Browns are down three starting offensive linemen. They've been a mash unit, at running back, at court. They've used 4 different starting quarterbacks. When Jeff Driscoll starts Sunday in a game that means something, they will have used 5 starting quarterbacks in a season. A team hasn't done that in the NFL since the 80s, and they have 11 wins.
Yep.
So I'm extremely impressed. The dog pound's rocking. And I think the Cleveland Browns, I know I'm a Browns fan, but I legitimately think that they could make the AFC Championship game. Do I think they could win the Super Bowl? I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that. Do I think they could win 2 playoff games? Yes, I do.
Why not us? Why not us? The Cleveland Browns and John Fanta. Fanta, thanks for doing it as always, man. We'll see you in Omaha soon.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you and love the passion out there.
John Fanta, Fox Sports College Basketball, and
I want his football takes now.
Several other things.
Guy knows his stuff.
Think he shoot around the field of 68. Yeah, I think he likes the Browns. Did you get that?
I gathered that.
Did that come across?
That's my assessment as well.
Yeah.
He barked on the radio multiple times.
How many John Fanta barks is that worth?
John's not afraid to look a fool.
No, I mean
on
the guy
television. You've seen his suits.
He gets his takes out there.
Yeah,
that's for sure. He says what he means.
Mm-hmm.
He means the Browns. We've said it before. Why can't the Browns go to the AFC Championship game? I kind of like the Browns now. Thank you, John.
Like if the Bills mess around and don't,
they
make
got
the
Flacco.
Playoffs, yeah, they've beaten the Ravens in Baltimore this year.
I don't know. I just hope John's not too disappointed when something horrible happens.
Because it's the Browns.
Right.
But I love talking to Browns and Lions fans because they're just like,
oh
my gosh, this is what this is like.
Correct. I like the
amazing.
Browns and Lions fans who have just forgotten everything about their entire lives. And they're like, nope, head first.
Oh, this is why I love this game. Because it can be exhilarating when the team wins.
Where's Matt Rule?
If we die, we die.
That's everybody who's a Lions or Browns fan. All right, back with more next on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley.
What in the hell is the smell outside?
Yes.
Yes. So if you are just going outside
it's money.
this morning.
You know what that is? That's money.
No.
That's manure.
Hey,
you know.
You're in a gots-to-go situation, manure, because it's awful outside.
It is bad.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Overcast skies continue for your Friday with a chance of flurries this afternoon and this evening. Accumulation not expected. A high in Omaha of 36 degrees with light winds out of the southeast up to 10 miles an hour. Seasonally chilly tonight with a low of 26, winds becoming light. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey, KETV Newswatch 7.
The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
We're for Washington. We love Febrez's new scent. Refresh and energize.
So much we made a song about it.
I can't escape this feeling inside. Refresh and energize. It's a mood, it's a vibe. Breathing for the first time. So free, so alive. Breathe happy for free. Smells like paradise. Breathe happy for free. La, 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 la.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Leaving for the gym so early?
I'm ready to go.
Since you started taking Nugenix Total T, you've been acting like when we met in our 20s.
I feel like myself again. Lower testosterone after turning 40 slowed me down. Nugenix Total T has been a game changer for me.
What is it about Nugenix Total T that's different?
Well, it's a patented key ingredient called testofen. It boosts free and total testosterone to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. It's backed by 5 clinical studies.
I've seen the huge difference it's made for you in the gym, at work, and in the bedroom.
I'm so glad I sent them a text for my complimentary bottle. Text ALL to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text ALL to 42424. That's ALL to 42424. Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
Listen to the Woodhouse Auto Family Blue Jays shoot around and overtime shows, the Creighton men's basketball pregame and postgame shows on 1620 The Zone. The Woodhouse Auto Family Blue Jays shoot around and overtime shows are also presented by Union Bank and Trust. Hear the breakdown and coverage about your top-ranked Creighton men's basketball team before and after each game, exclusively on your home for the Creighton Blue Jays. 1620 The Zone, the 1620 The Zone mobile app, and 1620thezone.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
All right. We got basketball. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock, the Chai. Nick dressed up as a friar.
Definitely going to happen.
And standing on the court. And as Creighton welcomes in the Bryce Hopkins-less Providence tomorrow. Shoot-arounds at 11. Pre-game's at 12:30. Tip-off is just a hair after 1 o'clock. And Nebraska is on. That's, by the way, on 1620 The Zone and 101.9 The Keg.
Don't forget
about that. Nebraska basketball 1:15 tomorrow on the road at Wisconsin. Stamp something. Triple stamp, a double stamp.
Boy, I hope we don't have to read a whole bunch of, man, how do we let Chucky Hepburn get away?
The one thing I regret today, Josh, is we haven't made enough Dumb and Dumber references.
We haven't.
Because Providence, Dumb and Dumber.
That's what people think about when they think about Dumb and Dumber. Providence.
Providence, absolutely. I went with.
We go to the best business in Providence. What's the best business in Providence?
It's got to be Mutt Cuts.
Either Mutt Cuts or I Got Worms. I don't think that actually ever came to fruition, did it?
I prefer Rhode Island Slut.
That newspaper?
Yes. I went on the lower third. Pretty Bird. Pretty Bird.
Pretty Bird.
Because the Blue Jays
Pretty
are a pretty bird.
Pretty Bird. Petey? You sold our dead bird to a blind kid?
He didn't have a head.
He didn't have a head. Harry,
I took care of it.
All right. We have to save ourselves. Random Mike is on the line. Hello, Mike. Happy Friday.
Hey, you too. That Fanta is fantastic.
He's the best.
I'll be honest, I didn't know who the hell he was. But he's 28 years old, but that's it.
Yeah, young guy. He just loves college basketball.
Tiny baby broadcaster.
Okay. No, the reason I'm calling, among others, is to apologize for my language during my last call.
Oh, well, I mean, you don't have to apologize. It's just, you're Random Mike, so sometimes you say things that are a little bit different than how other people refer to things.
That is true, but it's as I told Josh, it's a conditional apology. I mean, what's worse, to say "big girl," referring to your taller basketball player, or to say Caucasian European? I mean, what are you supposed to call? The big man in basketball, in male baskbasketball, the center. You might say it's the big man. The big guy.
Now, if you're talking about a specific person like Nikola Jokic, you could say you could just call him the big guy, or you could say the big Serbian, or something like that. You could be specific with him. But if you're trying to throw a blanket over the entire thing, then yeah, you're not wrong.
If it's a female, your female center,
big girl.
It's big girl. Okay, no, seriously, because on some other show when I used that. I got the impression that you really probably shouldn't say that. Yeah. And then I asked about that. I said, no, that's fine. But the female players, they refer to themselves as girls. They do.
Yeah.
And male players refer to themselves as guys. So I mean, what are you supposed to do? I mean, is big girl inappropriate because they think you're saying big fat girl? I mean, is that why it's inappropriate?
Maybe.
Big. I mean, seriously. Anytime. The haters were all over me for that, and sometimes the haters are right. But I feel like anytime you criticize somebody for anything, you ought to be able to say what they should have done.
Mike, I just want you to keep being you, man. We might say, hey, I wouldn't have said big girl, or I wouldn't have said European Caucasian. But it doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just we like to point out your quirks sometimes. That's all.
Yeah, and I want people to know, as far as the European Caucasian, yeah, I'd like to see more Caucasians in the NBA. I'd like to see more African Americans in leadership positions in other fields. For example, I did vote. Full disclosure, I voted for Obama. I'm very happy to see a black president. He truly was an African American, part African, part American. And Michael Severe breaking the color line at Big Red Wrap-Up. There was a reference by one of your commenters about the best of Random Mike, and Josh showed no interest in searching for that, which kind of hurt. But then I realized it's not, the juice ain't worth the squeeze. The best of Random Mike on this show, what would it be? Now, you guys did like my call about, remember Susan Waldman and that thing on the radio, and I did an imitation of her?
Yes. I really like your 4 consecutive calls about Cam Kojal. I like that one too.
I'm still in love with him. You know who he reminds me? Of? Dylan. Dylon. You guys don't get in trouble. He's got the big arm. Has there ever been more attention paid to an incoming freshman? And I was there for Frazier. Nothing like this.
Yeah, this is pretty different.
Put on his, and Frazier was great. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, anytime you criticize somebody, you ought to be able to say, do you agree? You ought to be say, you shouldn't have done that. You should have done this. But hey, the Nebraska men, and I said there might be more hope for them than with Creighton. Just maybe. But do you agree it would be great to get Blaze K-Dot where he could contribute? Because even in that last game, we have trouble guarding the really good big men.
He'd be a good guy to have for a few minutes off the bench, for sure. I don't think it'd be any more than that. And it seems, from how Fred said it, like it seems like we're a little far down the road still. But yeah, I mean, the more depth, the better. That's what you need. And when you get close to winning time in the tournament.
Yeah, and ranked mass. The thing about these, I'm thinking of these Caucasian Europeans. This Luka dude and the dude with Denver, those guys are fantastic players.
Yeah, I don't think they're anything like Rick Mast, though.
Hey, Rick was, he just coming off of surgery. So I don't think he was 100%. But if you hear Hoiberg talk about him, and if you just watch him, and this is a hope for Nebraska basketball. And how about the brother-sister act, with Alec? He doesn't have to score a point, but look what he does. I mean, just watch them, all the screens they set. And
glue guy.
Yeah, and it makes the team so much better. And guess who it makes better? Tominaga, because they're setting better screens for him. I mean, did you see the Minnesota game? Everybody was on Tominaga for having a bad half. They were fouling him on every single play. And I seriously thought Hoiberg should have got a technical. I mean, he was getting mugged.
Yeah, no, I mean, it would be on the scouting report for me, like be physical with Tominaga. That's for sure.
Oh, definitely. And he was fantastic in that game, but I think his teammates really helped him.
No doubt. Hey, Mike, thank you for taking some personal accountability. We appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a conditional apology. Love you, bro. Take care.
See ya.
Should we have just told him that he's going to have to call next week and apologize for this phone call? Boy, that really lit up the YouTube comment section.
Do we have any takes on Obama is a real African American?
We didn't get into specifics, but stop. Pull the plug now. Woo, keep talking. This is amazing. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Ask Mike to weigh in on Gaza, please.
We're just gonna let Mike keep being Mike, man. What a well-timed call. What a well-timed call. Quickly before we take a break, Josh. Creighton, Nebraska. How many wins combined this weekend? 0, 1, or 2?
1.
Would you like to pick which one?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I thought it was implied. Creighton.
You're such a jerk.
I'm
sorry. I thought it was implied.
You can listen to me now and believe me later, Saturday, when we're all talking about, oh, man, I wish Chucky Hepburn wouldn't have got
that people are over that.
We do that every time.
They've played
Nebraska
him 6 times with Chucky.
Chucky Hepburn is 34 years old.
I think it's 1 for the record as well.
Oh, interesting. Yet I'm being lambasted.
I think it's Creighton 2.
Some of my best friends are Blue Jays.
But Tuesday at Pinnacle Bank Arena will still be fun. Also Sunday at Pinnacle Bank Arena.
I've had 4 Blue Jays inside my house.
Poll questions tell you what to watch next on 1620 The Zone.
Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
Make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the roofery.
When it's time to replace or repair storm damage, make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the local, trusted, and proven choice. No one has installed more DaVinci roofs, and there's a reason why John Higgins Weather Guard is the nation's leader. Community member, community supporter. Make the right call.
John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the rooferys. Make the right call.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Sharp, voice of Omaha men's basketball. The Big Sky Summer League Challenge continues as the Mavs go on the road this Saturday to take on Idaho State. We'll be on the air with a pregame show at 6:30 on 1180 The Zone. Tip-off 7 o'clock for the Mavs and Idaho State.
John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air is now open in Omaha, and we are looking for experienced plumbers and HVAC technicians to join our team. We offer company-paid employee health insurance, provide a company truck with innovative technology, and so much more. We will have open interviews Mondays and Wednesdays at our new location, 9321 J Street. Learn more at calljh.com/careers or call
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Taylor Bisciotti with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. After clearing waivers Thursday, running back Dalvin Cook is signing with the Ravens for the playoffs. Cook and the Jets mutually agreed to part ways earlier this week. Now has 2.5 weeks to get ready for Baltimore's divisional playoff game. A big step for Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence, who was seen throwing at the open portion of practice Thursday for the first time since suffering a sprain in his right shoulder 2 weeks ago. The injury that forced the quarterback to miss last Sunday's win over the Panthers is also dealing with a left finger injury. Jacksonville clinches the AFC South title with a win over Tennessee Sunday. Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield returned to practice in a limited capacity on Thursday and did some light throwing for the first time since suffering a rib injury last week against the Saints. Tampa will clinch the NFC South division title with a win over the Panthers. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Hey guys, Chris Brockman here. Prize Picks, it's the most fun I've had, winning up to 25 times my money this football season. And now I can play during basketball season too. I can take combo projections across both sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less their projection, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and an enormous selection of players and stat options are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. And Prize Picks is the only DFS platform with an injury insurance policy, keeping you in the game if one of your players goes down. Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million football fans who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/primetime and use the code PRIMETIME. That's code PRIMETIME at prizepicks.com/primetime for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and
All right, a couple minutes left here. Once again, Blue Jay basketball is on the air tomorrow. Coverage beginning at 11 on 1620 The Zone. And then coverage on The Zone and The Keg starting at 12:30 with John Bishop and Taylor Stormberg, I assume, tomorrow. Creighton Providence starts at 1.
And Nick Grimm.
And Nick
dressed
Grimm,
like a friar.
Nick Grimm working for the other broadcast. Yeah. Nick Grimm working for the enemy, dressed like a friar.
Yet again, I get lambasted.
That's tomorrow on The Zone. Well, questions. Do you ask for help at the grocery store?
I do not.
No. 68% say no. Does Nick Hanley love shiplap?
100% yes.
Now you have to explain to people why we're asking this.
The TV is often on Magnolia Network, and I just assumed it's because Nick Hanley loves DIY home improvement shows and therefore loves shiplap.
By the way, during this show, we have gone from Evan Almighty to Bruce Almighty, and I think we're nearing the end of Bruce Almighty now.
Oh.
So there you go.
What's on next? 40-Year-Old Virgin, then Dodgeball, then Hot Tub Time Machine on IFC today.
Oh, I thought you were making a joke. That's actually true.
That's the lineup tonight. That's a good lineup.
Super predictable. 89%, by the way, say yes. Are the Stanley Cups like Beanie Babies?
You made an interesting case for it in the odd news today.
53% say yes. Yeah. And those are the poll questions. Josh, what are we watching tonight?
Well, this weekend we're going to watch some NFL football. Remember, there's games Saturday. You'd be a real idiot if you did this segment and forgot Saturday NFL games.
There's 2 of them.
Yeah, Steelers-Ravens, 3:30 tomorrow on ESPN and ABC, followed by the Texans and the Colts. A lot on the line there, 7:15 start time there. Sunday, CBS, Jaguars-Titans here locally. I mean, there is a lot on the line in Jacksonville. It, a lot hinges on it, but it is also thought to be Derrick Henry's last game in Tennessee for the Titans. So respect to the king. Bend the knee, everybody. Noon game on Fox is, I'm going to, Vikings, Lions, and then your 3 o'clock games on Fox, Cowboys, Commanders, and the Chiefs have been flexed out.
Goodbye.
Locally.
See ya. Wow. Nobody wants to watch Blaine Gabbert.
That is disrespect of the highest order. Here in Omaha, it is Bears, Packers, 3 o'clock on CBS. That's right. NFC on CBS. You can listen to the Chiefs game on 1290 beginning at 2 o'clock Sunday. And then the big one, Sunday Night Football, NBC, Bills, Dolphins at 7 o'clock. NBA, only 2 games on TV this weekend. They're both tonight on ESPN Knicks Sixers at 6:30, followed by Grizzlies Lakers. The Grizzlies have been hot since Ja came back. The Lakers have been cold since winning the in-season tournament. What could possibly go wrong? College basketball this weekend. Actually, tonight, FS1, 7:30. It is a top 10 matchup. The number 1 Purdue Boilermakers are favored by 10.5 points over the number 9. Yeah, it's still true. Illinois on FS1.
Oh, they haven't lost.
Not on Peacock, on FS1. And then, as Connor alluded to, Creighton hosts Providence tomorrow, 1 o'clock on FS1. 1:15 tomorrow on BTN, Nebraska at number 21 Wisconsin. Battle of ranked teams, number 8 North Carolina against number 16 Clemson, 11 a.m. tomorrow on ESPN2. Women's basketball, a couple games on this weekend. Creighton at DePaul, 3 o'clock Saturday on FS1. So good pickup there. And then Sunday, 1 o'clock BTN, Indiana at Nebraska.
Look at all of our televised local sports.
Bring your A game, Connor. You'll be on television.
I got to say a lot of words.
And rest those vocal cords tonight and all weekend long on Lifetime. Watch the 3-night docuseries event, Connor. The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Oh, for God's sakes.
She spent 7 years behind bar for the murder of her mother and was the inspiration behind Hulu's The Act.
How is this already on television?
She's done 11,000 interviews since getting out of jail like 10 days ago. She's granting them left and right.
We got problems, man.
And finally, Sunday night on CBS at 7 o'clock, it is the 81st annual Golden Globe Awards.
Oh, an award show.
The award show returns from cancellation on a new network. It combines the awards from film and television and allows its attendees to drink alcohol. Barbie leads the movie nominations with 9, and Succession leads the TV side with 9 nominations.
Let's go.
It's amazing. Connor's only watched 2 things this year, and they're both leading the way in nominations.
I make sure I check all the boxes.
Joe Coy. I can't say the guy's name. Joe Coy.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Hosts the show.
I don't know who that is.
He's a comedian of some repute.
We're about 3 weeks away from Gypsy Rose Blanchard hosting the Golden Globes.
I'm just here to meet Taylor Swift, y'all.
All right, Josh. Thank you.
Thank you, Connor.
That is the show, and that is a week. Welcome to 2024. We will return. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. The crossover is next.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here from my friends at Kugler Vision. It is a new year and you deserve a new view. Do not wait any longer. Kugler Vision took great care of me at the start of 2018. They will take great care of you as well in 2024. Visit the website kuglervision.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card